Chapter 6. Waking up. I didn't feel any traces of alcohol in my body. Cheerful. Fresh and ready to act. After breakfast, Andreyka lent me his wristwatch, which show local time. It turned out that yesterday was Sunday, and today is Monday. Everything is the same as on Earth. At exactly 10 o'clock I drove out the car and went to the local hospital. Kaylee hasn't come out of her coma yet, but her condition is improving. Dr. Brunneman gave me a couple of injections and sent me out into the street. On the way back to Andre's house I came across a column of 7 trucks entering the village, accompanied by 4 armored IVECOLMV SUVs with heavy machine guns mounted on their roofs. Trucks. MAN TGS 6x6 off-road tractor units. 2 of them are attached to huge fuel tanks with a capacity of at least 40 cubic meters. 3 tractors are pulling refrigerated trailers. The remaining 2 are pulled by conventional tarpaulin trailers. Andreyka was found in the gazebo. He sits with a thoughtful look and looks into a thick notebook, biting on a regular ballpoint pen. I decided to keep him company, and at the same time take care of your AK-15. He answered briefly when asked about the column he had encountered. The fuel has been delivered, and the products will be taken away. Fish, meat, dairy, vegetables and fruits. Capitalism. After about 5 minutes of silence, Andreyka raised his head and asked, "Are you ready to go to the village of Roj?" I nodded. Ready. But I would just like to clarify. I'll explain everything. Andreyka interrupted. You leave first. The route is simple. You won't go wrong. Map. Drawn by Modest. Which you read. Faithful. In addition, there are signs at all turns. Your task is to reach the village of Roj without incident and meet Sasha Bodrov there. The chances of running into people looking for easy money on Monday are extremely low. The safest option would be to wait for the column, which you recently came across. But she will be going back in at least 7 hours. But we can't wait that long. Robbery in our area is a fairly rare occurrence. But there is no need to relax. I remember. You ran into Skinny's gang in the wild field. And I met the French. You are a lucky one. Nikitos. Be vigilant. I will report your arrival to Bodrov by telephone. We also have a telegraph. And in the village of Roj there is one. I don't have a landline phone. But Sanya has it. Luxury. Whatever you say. Do you understand everything? I shook my head and asked, what is the purpose of my visit to Roj? Andreyka tore a sheet of paper out of his notebook and handed it to me. The following text is written on the sheet of paper. I send you a good friend. Let's get acquainted. Chat. Think. That it's time to get together and have a big drinking party. His arrival must be celebrated. In a past life we were good friends. We will be even better in this one. You understand yourself. I need to introduce you to my loved ones. And all that. Send someone to Svetly or call. Maxim Efemenko and Alina Ravenko should be invited. Without them. You know it yourself. It will be boring. I'll go to Voika myself to get the guests. We're meeting tomorrow evening. But you need to arrive as early as possible. Bring more booze and snacks. We'll be having a blast. Clever. I smiled. It works. That we are going to celebrate my arrival. Will anyone else besides Bodrov read the note? I can't say. Andreyka answered. Entry into the village of Roj is more difficult than in ours. There are serious checkpoints and inspections there. You will say, what from me? And show the note. Pan has eyes and ears everywhere. There is no need to arouse unnecessary suspicion that an old friend of mine showed up. I already started a rumor. Let's play it safe. As best we can. Badly. What does Wilkins know about that? That you and I are not friends. And Pan knows about it. That a Russian newcomer has shown up. Wilkins reports everything to him. Let's hope so. That Pan and his gang are not so meticulous. The Russian maybe should also be present in the case. You have problems with Pan. Right. I guessed. Well, how could we do without them? Nikita. The gentleman has had a grudge against me for a long time. But he knows that many people will follow me. We have a division here. All in all, we are people from the former security forces. Pan and his buddies are former prisoners. And all of them are murderers. We have little in common. Even though we speak the same language. Well, yes. There is little in common. That we are murderers. What are they? The only difference is in intentions. We consider ours to be good. Asterisk. Half an hour later I drove towards the village of Roj. The dirt road allows you to maintain a decent speed. Sometimes you come across some pretty big holes. But Toyota's suspension simply doesn't notice them. You can easily accelerate to 100 and even more. The main disadvantage is the turns and climbs. It's a hilly area after all. At the 23rd kilometer mark a surprise awaited me. Along the road, supporting each other, two people are walking. Even from a decent distance of 300 meters I was able to make it out. That they got it badly. That, with a sniper rifle slung across his back, looks neater. The second one can barely stand on his feet. And only rags remained of the clothes. We walked for a long time. Tired. The car burned down. And there is nothing to travel on. Continuing to move forward. I put the machine gun on my knees. Removed the safety catch and inserted the cartridge into the chamber. And what should I do with you? Skinny. Her Majesty fate has brought us together again. I was noticed. When the distance was reduced to 100 meters. The skinny one turned first. That's why. To recognize my car. It took him 2 seconds. Having said something to his partner, Skinny began to take the rifle off his shoulder. My partner surprised me. Without turning around. Fell to his knees and folded his hands behind his head. Skinny followed suit. But before that he threw the rifle on the ground. There are no cartridges. Seems like. I stopped the car at a safe distance and got out. Standing behind Skinny and his partner. Said. Great. Bandits. Aren't you tired of walking? You're a wit. Warrior. Skinny answered. He got his nickname for a reason. And indeed, he is very thin. But the partner is even thinner and looks really bad. Even from the back. Skinny. Right. I asked. Right. Warrior. You're one of the new ones. I saw this in the hills. I made it. Apparently. Get comfortable and even know. Who am I? Come on. Press the trigger. There's no need to drag it out. I picked up a tennis ball-sized rock from the road and threw it accurately at the second bandit's head. Got it. And he fell face down on the dirt surface. Passed out. Are you going to throw stones at us? Laughing tiredly. Asked Skinny. Get up. I commanded, and the bandit obediently stood up. 5 steps forward. And lie down face down on the ground. The skinny man took 6 steps and reluctantly assumed a horizontal position. I approached the second bandit and, to be sure, hit him on the head with my boot. After that, he approached Skinny and lowered the butt of his SVD onto his head. You can knit. The condition of the sniper rifle leaves much to be desired. She is old. One of the first yet. The sight cracked. It's not clear how Skinny shot at me through it. Apparently. He's not such a bad sniper. As they say. I can't hit an elephant with a rifle like that. After about 15 minutes I continued on my route. He put the skinny guy in the front seat. While tying it up well. The second bandit was thrown back. It is not necessary to knit it. Because the soul in him is barely holding on. Tied up. So as not to take risks. The skinny one groaned. When there were about 10 kilometers left to the village of Roj. Opening my eyes. He began to remember. Seeing me. Twitched several times and apparently. I remembered. Having become quiet. Muttered. "Hey warrior. Why did you break my head?" "I didn't break it." I answered. "What's the second one's name?" "My name is Vova. And the rattle of Kosoy." Skinny answered. "You didn't look him in the eyes. His right eye is slightly squinting. Wouldn't be cross-eyed. Would have hit you." Skinny and Kosoy are hardly older than me. My age or younger. But definitely not older. Both are Russian. Normal men. Could have been normal. It didn't work out. We weren't tracking you. Warrior. Skinny spoke quite clearly. You were an accident. We were watching the French. But you hardly know about them. The Tasty Trinity is hunting in those parts. They have a nice car and guns. You fell on our heads. Warrior. I instantly became angry. He looked angrily at Skinny and barked. Fell on your heads. You say. There's no point in shooting people. Were you bullied as a child or what? How did I end up like this? You decided to lecture me. Skinny said quietly and began to laugh just as quietly. I've come to such a bad place. And that's all. It's none of your business. Dog. Your job is to gnaw on the bone. Bone. You say. I grinned. You'll get a bone. Skinny. Will. Asterisk. Having reached the next climb. I saw a huge hill. On which the village of Roj stands. The hill is impressive and quite high. The village was built on its top. The winding road crawls along the hillside to the very top. The stone mining area is located a couple of kilometers from the village on the left. In the gentle part of the hill. The buildings are also distinguishable and slow. Like turtles. Trucks. As well as excavators and front-end loaders. There is even a conveyor for discharging unnecessary rock. A couple of kilometers from the hill. On the right. Small waste heaps grow. This is where the processed rock is transported. There are few fields in the area. But they exist too. There is no way to live without agriculture. Having seen that, we are going to the village of Roj. The skinny man became nervous and began to speak quickly. Hey warrior. You better stop and shoot us. Don't take it to the village. Don't do this. Better keep quiet. I advised good-naturedly. I certainly won't kill you. I can do it painfully, very painfully. Do you need this? Skinny, shut up. I approached the hill and began to climb. In about 10 minutes we'll be at the checkpoint. Asterisk. The village of Roj is surrounded by a concrete fence along its entire perimeter. Not tall. About 1.5 meters. There are 2 entrances to the village. The first one is the main one. From the road. I'll be entering through it. The second one is from the industrial zone. Why such security measures? It's not clear to me yet. At the checkpoint we were met by 2 angry French Hummers Renault Sherpa 2. One is equipped with a large caliber machine gun. And on the second there is a small caliber gun. In addition to the SUVs, the point is guarded by 6 fighters. Dressed in nothing else. Like in the domestic, Ratnik, that I am well familiar with. Aren't they hot? I'll give it credit. The checkpoint is heavily guarded. And only idiots would go and storm it with firearms in their hands. The French Hummer's cannon wouldn't let us get within a couple of kilometers of the village. I stopped the car at a special site. Intended for inspection of transport. 2 soldiers lazily jumped off the hood of an army SUV and headed towards me. Armed with AK-100 series assault rifles. After leaving the Toyota showroom, I walked around her and dragged Skinny, tied up, out into the street. Next he pulled out Kosoy. Both bandits assumed a horizontal position. Greetings, one of the fighters said in Russian. A young dark-haired guy of about 25. I see. What a fellow countryman. I see. What a newbie. And I see. What about the gifts? You're lucky. All in all. Zema. We are on duty today. Let's deal with the gifts first. What is your name? And who did you bring us? Nikita Ermakov. I introduced myself and extended my hand to the fighter. He stepped forward and shook it, introducing himself in turn. Kirill Fomin. Squad leader. This is Skinny and Squint, I said, pointing at the prisoners. There were 3 of them a few days ago. But I killed one. I came across these on the road. I burned their car. Apparently. We walked. There is a captured SVD. But without cartridges. We'll figure it out, said Fomin and picked up the radio. Keep the rifle for yourself. If bandits are on the list, then you will be paid a small bonus. All in all. Wait. I nodded. Misha. Fomin is on the line. The fighter said into the radio. Can you tell me the names of the bandits? More precisely. By nicknames. Skinny and Squint. Wait. Responded hoarsely Misha. What was the third one's name? Don't you know? Asked Fomin. Second fighter. Who came with him? Looks like a statue. He just sweats a lot. After all, the temperature outside is about 30 degrees and it's quite sunny. What was the name of the third one? I asked and kicked Skinny in the ribs. Bitch. He howled. But he answered. We called him Blondie. There is such a gang operating in our region. The radio began to broadcast in the voice of a certain Misha. There are 3 in the gang. Skinny, Kosoy and Blondin. Their leader is Skinny. 33 years old. Sniper. The light one put a reward of 500 credits on him. For the rest, 100 each. If the gang is caught, it is ordered to be destroyed. Execution by hanging. Or just shoot. Thank you. Mish. Fomin said into the radio and looked at me. I heard it all myself. I will write you a confirmation. Just wait a little. These people need to be hanged. You can wait here or come with us. Decide. All in all. I decided to go. It's not that I want to watch bandits being executed. On them. And for that. How they will be killed. I don't give a damn. I don't want to just stand still and wait. Sasha Bodrov. Who is supposed to meet me at the gate? I don't see. He's late. The bandits were loaded into a French Hummer and taken to the place of execution. I followed in a Toyota Drive. As it turned out. Not for long. The gallows is in that place. Where the processed rock is transported. 2 metal pipes were dug into the ground and crossbars were made between them. 6 thin cables with loops at the ends hang almost to the ground. One of the pillars has a winch. You spin it. And the cables begin to slowly creep upward. Bad gallows. This one doesn't break your neck. And that means the hanged man will suffer. Drag them. Fomin commanded 2 fighters and approached me. Smiling. Asked. How do you like our gallows? Not good. Honestly. I answered, do you hang everyone? Not all. Only Tech. Who is ordered to be destroyed. Some become prisoners. They are even put on trial. Basically, they give life sentences and send them to work. Where are they taking them? Don't know. They become slaves. Briefly speaking. An unpleasant prospect. Those. Who is responsible for transporting captured bandits? They say that it's better to die. Skinny and Squint were dragged to the gallows. The first one started screaming hysterically and begging for mercy. Especially when a rope noose was tightened around the neck. Kosoy did not regain consciousness. And you can say that he was lucky. Do you want to work the winch? Grinning contentedly, asked Foreman. I shook my head. Spin. Foreman commanded the soldiers. And after a few seconds the cables slowly began to creep upward. The skinny one screamed 3 times louder and continued screaming until then. Until the rope pinched my throat. I didn't watch. But I heard everything perfectly. Asterisk. We returned to the checkpoint. Another car appeared next to the French Hummer. The Audi A6 Allroad Quattro station wagon rides on large wheels with a nasty tread pattern. The car is not new. Early 2000s. But boasting excellent condition and shiny black paintwork. The owner clearly loves his car and takes constant care of it. The owner of the Audi turned out to be a man of my height with black hair. With the same thick black eyebrows and a thick stubble. Covering half of the face. He is dressed in light camouflage shorts and a t-shirt of the same color. On my feet I am wearing flip-flops. Apparently. This is Sasha Bodrov. Who is supposed to meet me. Russian. But because of his unshaven appearance he looks like a guest from the Caucasus Mountains. However, it wouldn't hurt me to shave either. I look similar. Sasha stopped talking to the fighters. He waved his hand at me and walked towards me. I waved back. Foreman approached. He handed me a piece of paper and said, "This is a receipt for the award. You can withdraw cash at any branch of the Unified Bank. Or from any head of the settlement. Has Bodrov come to pick you up?" I took the receipt and nodded. "I'm healthy. Thomas." Sasha Bodrov exclaimed and greeted me and Foreman in turn. "Any problems?" "This man came to see me. Just in case. Bokova Andreyka is his friend." "I already know. That I came to see you." Foreman said thoughtfully. "This man also brought 2 bandits to us. Everything is fine. But I can't let him into the territory. Rules." "Sash. Thomas. Don't start." Bodrov said quietly. Slowly turning purple. "I know your rules. I'm not starting." Foreman answered calmly. "If you don't like it, go to Clemens and peddle with him. Or better yet, go straight to Pan. His idea. You know it yourself. As I found out later. Clemens Holzer is the head of the village of Roj. German by nationality. A 43-year-old healthy albino man. Dances to Pan's tune. Which is not surprising. The heads of all the villagers dance to it. Call Clemens." Bodrov demanded. "I'll talk to him. I have a note," I said and pulled a piece of paper out of my pocket. "Which Andreyka Bokov gave me. We have been friends for a long time. We're collecting the booze. I heard." "Thomas." Sasha Bodrov took the note from me. He quickly read it and handed it to Foreman. Foreman read the note for about 30 seconds. As if he was trying to memorize. After a short silence, he picked up the radio. I contacted the same Misha and demanded to be connected with Clemens Holzer. Holzer appeared on air after about 2 minutes of waiting. And Foreman showed. Who speaks German very well. During a short dialogue, that is. What is written in the note. Was voiced by Holzer in German. After which he answered. And the dialogue was over. "You'll break your tongue speaking this German," Foreman said discontentedly and looked closely at Bodrov. Holzer gave the go-ahead. "But under your responsibility." And he said something else. That Nikita should go to Pan. And he will register it. All in all. Free. Let's go. Nikita. Bodrov said smiling and headed towards his Audi. I entered the village through the checkpoint. If the hand of the Germans can be felt in the village of Sachsenhausen, then here everything is different. It seems that the village was built by a perfectionist. The houses are the same. As if from a carbon copy. Smooth roads. Streets and sidewalks. The colors are predominantly white. Gray and light green. We passed the local 2-story administration building. Building for providing services to the population. Mineral extraction management. Telegraph and a couple of shops. All of this is concentrated in the city center and is located close to each other. The Audi turned towards one of the houses and stopped. Sashka Bodrov jumped out of the car and gestured to park the Toyota at the gate. "And how do you like our village?" he asked. When I went outside. "Honestly, I didn't like it," I answered. "It looks like a toy. Somehow unreal. I can't say the same about the security at the checkpoint. The small caliber gun on the frog-like Hummer commands respect." "Yeah." Sashka smiled. "But it's not working. A real machine gun and weapon in the hands of the checkpoint guards. The gun stopped firing about 2 years ago. And you won't find any shells for it. But you're right about the guys. Serious. Even though they're young. They are mercenaries. The master hired them. You understand everything yourself." "I understand. That the guys are mercenaries. Good and bad at the same time. We'll kill Pan and they'll have no one to work for. The master will give the order. And these mercenaries will shoot at us. War. Which we are going to arrange. Still in its infancy. But I'm already starting to get scared." We entered the house. Light and cozy. Simple furniture. Minimum of technology. There is a landline telephone on the nightstand. And not a simple one. And with a fax. Think that in this world I will also come across Soviet telephones. Those very ones that in the old world are almost no longer used. Tea. Coffee. What's stronger? Sanya suggested. Or maybe in the shower. Almost all the benefits of civilization are available. Give me some tea, I answered, approaching the thermopot. Sanya smiled and said, "We can set the table for 4. They arrived quickly. 2 people burst into the house. The first one is Bashka by nationality and looks about 30 years old. I understand that this is Bulut Musin. That who likes to blow things up. Smiling and radiating positivity. The second one is about 10 years older. And his name is Denis Nugumanov. Specialist in all types of communications. Tatar by nationality. He is not inferior to Bulut in terms of positivity. A cheerful couple. Come on, poor. And stronger. Bulut declared from the doorway. Stronger and bigger. Denis picked up. Amidst the laughter and jokes of Bulut and Denis, we sat down to drink tea. And they demanded from me an account of the story of my arrival in this world. I'm already fed up with it. Honestly. I had to tell. Not a great story. Honestly. Bulut exclaimed defiantly, leaning back in his chair. He pompously crossed his arms over his chest. Listen. Denis drove on. Yours. I'm watching. It was cooler. Yes. Well, come on. Tell me yours. Let Nikita have a laugh. After this, Denis was immediately sent away by Bulut. No swearing. Which is strange. Go to the bathhouse. And you go to the toilet. Denis didn't lose his composure and began to intimidate. You don't want to tell me yourself. Then I'll tell you. Go ahead. Bulut said indifferently. Denis and Bulut love to tease each other. I already understood that. There is no malice in their verbal altercations. You asked for it. Denis smiled and began. This bogeyman had a portal opening in the field. It was sent by someone well known to everyone. Or almost everyone. Dark Future Organization. Our Bulatka got a little scared and wanted to stop his Nissan Patrol in front of the portal. But due to the shaking I mixed up the pedals and pressed the gas. The diesel engine started off so briskly. It's not every day that you get sent to another world. You know. Dissatisfied. But Bulut exclaimed good-naturedly. Don't interrupt. Dennis asked and continued. Patrol managed to gain good speed and jumped into the portal. Like a frightened deer in the sunset. That was a good jump. Throwing up bits of grass with all-wheel drive and poisoning the Earth's atmosphere with the exhaust of an old diesel engine. I understand. That the pause was intentional. In order to spark my interest. Dennis succeeded. You shouldn't have compared me to a deer. Bullet shook his finger. It's a metaphor. Dennis waved it off. I'm embellishing. You understand yourself. All in all. Bullet passed through the portal and found himself in a new world. It didn't just happen. And flew into it at a considerable speed. About 40 to 50 kilometers. I can't even imagine. And anything could appear in Bullet's path. Rock. Water. Abyss. Tree. Field. All. Anything. But appeared before Bullet. Although no. He was there. But Bullet appeared and continued to drive. Tearing apart the land of the new world with an evil protector. Goroloid. Squatting down to take a big stool in the bushes. I didn't know. That our Bulatka should appear. And took the blow of the massive Nissan bumper in his groin. Which led him into these bushes. He never wiped his ass. They say so. That somewhere in the jungle there's a gorilla with a Nissan logo running around between his buns. And they also say that Goroloid now goes to the toilet. Pressing his back against the rock. All. A burst of laughter filled Sani Bodrov's kitchen. Bullet. He must have heard his story retold at least 50 times. Laughed too. When everyone calmed down. He said proudly. Laugh, laugh. But I am the only person in this world who managed to scare the Goroloid. No matter how healthy that overgrown monkey was. But she couldn't withstand my powerful kick. I'm a Gorolo tamer. All in all. We've had enough of laughing. Becoming extremely serious. Said Dennis. Now to business. Nikita is new to us. But already aware of most of the events. I'm interested in the following. Bokov Andreyka spoke. That we will be planning a brawl. When everything settles down. I don't see any peace. There are a lot of mercenaries in Horn. A bunch of mercenaries in the 2. There are a lot of Pan's guys in Sachsenhausen. I don't see. So that everything settles down. Or does Bokov think differently? Sash. Clarify. Think. That everything is connected with Nikita's arrival. Answered Bodrov and pointed at me. Everyone knows about the disputes between Bokov and Pan. There is only one reason why squabbling does not start. We support Andreyka. Pan can probably get rid of Andreyka and most likely. I even planned it. But he is afraid of revenge. Pan also knows that Raisa Surkova and Andrei Bokov are old comrades in arms. Having killed Andreyka, Pan risks getting an armor-piercing incendiary bullet in his genitals. It's a kind of uneasy truce. And to this day no one has violated it. Pan is gaining strength. Bokov pretends that he doesn't give a damn about anything. And Pan is something non-existent for him. Pan has mercenaries, brothers, money and power. We are at Andreyka Bokov's. I didn't like what I heard. Interesting. What is the reason for the feud between Pan and Bokov? As I already understood, Andreyka is not so simple. The loyalty of his friends speaks for itself. Can you explain it to me? What is the reason for the feud between Bokov and Pan? I asked. Ooh. It's complicated. Bullet waved it off. It's a long and boring story. Which originates on Earth. Pan and Bokov are old acquaintances. In short, Andreyka Bokov was a security officer in his past life. Who was Pan? You know. How have they not killed each other yet? Is a mystery to us. This makes it clearer. Nikita. I shook my head. Bad explanation. But I got the gist. Let's move on. As I already said, Andreyka decided to start in connection with Nikita's arrival. Continued Sasha Bodrov. He didn't say anything on the phone and didn't even try to hint. I didn't write anything about it in the note either. My personal opinion. In fact, Andreyka is in charge of everything. But the appearance will be created. What Nikita? Nikita. Don't be afraid. It will work. There won't be any problems. No. It won't happen either. The dead don't give a damn about problems. Cheerful prospects. I muttered. We'll get through it. Denis waved it off. In any case, I'm glad that Bokov decided to start. I'm tired of it all already. I wish it would happen sooner. There is definitely no need to rush here. Bodrov shook his head. We need to plan. With Sachsenhausen everything is more or less clear. Bokov lives there. And he will seize power in it. Maybe. And he can do it alone. There will be more problems with Pan's hut and Pan himself. Night. Silence. Clean up. Think. Which will also cause some problems. The situation with the villages of Roj and Voika is more complicated. You will have to act confidently and firmly. The phone rang. It rang so disgustingly that I wanted to change the melody. Maybe. Will you pick up the phone? Bullet nodded at the phone. Sasha Bodrov shook his head. The answering machine will turn on now. I'm kind of not at home at the moment. We are in the yard. Let's get drunk. The phone beeped like an answering machine and spoke. Sanya. This is Max. I listened to your message and I speak with confidence that I am participating in drinking. How can I miss such fun? I called Alina Ravenko. And she says. Which will also happen. He and Modest Karandashov's wife had not seen each other for almost 6 months. I'm waiting for her and slowly packing my things. We're leaving in about 2 hours. Grab Magarik. I've never had a headache because of you. See you. I didn't understand. Bullet's eyes widened in surprise. What about you? Are they listening? Does this surprise you? Denis asked calmly. You and I are funny fish. And no problems from us. Sanya is Bokov's close friend. And Pan can't just leave it like that. They are listening. And quite well at that. Phone always. House. Thanks to me. They don't listen. More details. Please. I asked. The wiretapping is being conducted from Pan's hut. Sasha Bodrov began to answer. This means. What does Pan know about the arrival of Maxim Efemenko and Alina Ravenko? The house was also listened to. But Denis corrected the situation. There were 3 listening devices in total. 2 of which were liquidated. The third one is installed in a thermopot and works. When it is turned on. I took the thermopot outside and replaced it with another one. Without wiretapping. Usually. When there is nothing to hide. Wiretapping is constantly on. Pan won't learn anything serious from me anyway. In the situation. Like today. Wiretapping is enabled on the street. And listen to a pre-prepared recording. That. Who's listening? Will understand. That we're just drinking. And won't suspect anything. You're being serious here. Shaking his head. I said, and Pan is a serious uncle. I hope I don't screw up. We won't fail. Bodrov smiled. Now we'll go to Clean Lake. I need to discuss something with Pan. You'll get to know him at the same time. He'll give the go-ahead and we'll have him on the hook. Asterisk. They decided to go in 2 cars. On my Toyota and Sasha's Audi. Bullet went with me. What Bodrov has in mind. We don't know. Let's go to Pan and find out. The Audi drives briskly and creates a horrendous amount of dust. I had to break the distance to half a kilometer. Sanya loves to race. Said Bullet. Looking at the interior of a Toyota. It has a ton of horsepower and 2 turbines under the hood. You can't catch up with that on your turtle. Participates in local races, which are sometimes spent out of idleness. Participates successfully. And you, as I see it, you're more crazy about the Japanese. Your tractor is serious, but the engine is weak. I don't get attached. Just in case. How do you move? Nodding. I asked. On patrol. Answered Bullet. It's almost intact. So. The radiator grill fell apart. The bumper is cracked. And the hood was a little dented. Well, that's the end of the headlights. There is a good car service center in the city of Svetli. And the local guys did some repairs for me. Spare parts were taken from the donor. So patrol is in good shape and ready to win. We're going to see Pan without instructions. I said, what can I say? What's there not to say? Who the hell knows? Bullet shrugged. Do you know how to act like a stern man? Not really. I smiled. I can try. But I can't vouch for its veracity. I position myself as Bokev's friend. What if Pan asks me something? What don't I know? I doubt. What will ask? Answered Bullet. He is not that kind of person. His pride will not allow him to ask. Don't piss yourself. Briefly speaking, everything will be at its best. We passed the turnoff to Chistoye Lake and after a while found ourselves near it. The lake is surrounded on all sides by 5 gentle hills. We descended from one of these hills. It was not for nothing that they called it pure. The water in the lake is clear. And this can be seen even from a distance. The coast is almost everywhere flat and sandy. There is no vegetation. A strange lake for such an area. Strange that the water is crystal clear. And strange that the shore is sandy. Sure that the lake cannot be artificial. Bullet confirmed this. The lake is of natural origin. Palace of Pan. Or more precisely, Loch. Built 100 meters from the lake. The castle is impressive in size and is designed in Japanese style. The question arises. What does Japan have to do with it? If Pan is Russian. And how can he be Russian? If Pan is a Polish landowner. There is confusion. The castle has 4 floors. The total area is 5,000 square meters. No less. The first floor is the largest. The next 3 floors form a pyramid. The castle was built of stone and concrete. Built with integrity. It is surrounded by a 3-meter concrete fence with massive iron gates. There are numerous buildings on the large territory, which are also made in Japanese style. Even the Finnish sauna looks like this from the outside. Like a Japanese flat house. A concrete path leads from the castle to the water. By the water. On a high foundation. There is a Russian bathhouse with a bridge attached to it. From which you can dive into the water. Only the bathhouse has a familiar appearance. And not the pretentious Japanese style. Well, I don't like all these squiggles on the roof. Excessively protruding pediments and pendant lights. And I don't like hieroglyphs either. I played mahjong at one time. I'm tired of it. Pan has settled in quite well. I said, having studied the palace. There's one thing I don't understand. Why Japanese style? They say that a competent architect could not be found. Answered Bullet. Some Japanese guy was found. And he drew up a project. I drew it. More precisely. Well, I drew it too. The gentleman was satisfied. And construction began. It didn't turn out quite right. What he expected. No one ever saw that architect again. They spent 2 years building this crap. Just in case. This is only the 3rd time I've been here. He didn't go far from you. Not an old-timer in this world. We drove up to the gate and stopped. Andreyka honked the horn briefly and followed Dennis out of the car. Bullet and I also went out. Two guards appeared from the gate about 3 minutes later. Dressed in black light pants and t-shirts. With bandanas on their heads and Belgian FN Val rifles in their hands. They look Russian. Arms and legs covered in tattoos. Next to. Exactly, Pan, guys. Who do you need? One of the guards asked menacingly. Noticeable. What changes the voice? In order to appear cooler. That doesn't make it look cool. It doesn't inspire any fear. We've been there before, we know. Pula doesn't care about coolness. The meat and bones are the same for everyone. And you guess. Fried. Bodrov answered defiantly. Or everything. Is your brain completely rotten? Shura. You're not. Oh. The second guard began to puff up. But Bodrov immediately shut him up. Drone. There was no buzzing command. Security guard. Which Sasha called drone. He bared his teeth and pointed the barrel of his rifle at us. Continuing to hold it at the waist. He didn't put his finger on the trigger and didn't take the safety off. You don't remember. What did I tell you? Drone. Bodrov asked with evil calm. Never point a gun at me. Or you want to. So I can shove your Val ending in os up your ass and make you pull bullets out of it. I came to Pan. And not to you. Run. Doggies. And report my arrival to the chief dog handler. Security guard. Named Fried. Nodded to his partner, nicknamed Drone. And they. Red with anger. Disappeared behind the gate. It's only like that with these ones. Sasha Bodrov shrugged. Otherwise they don't understand. About 5 minutes later, a rather attractive person with a shock of luxurious white hair came out to us. Dressed in a tight dress and high-heeled shoes. The person reported. That Pan is busy and will only be able to see us in an hour. Sashka Bodrov was not upset and pointed to the lake. He suggested cheerfully. Let's go swimming. Bullet was the first to reach the water. Taking off clothes. Climbed onto the bridge built onto the bathhouse. Ran and dived into the water. Sasha flew into the water after him. Denis Nugumanov and I decided to refrain from such hasty actions. We entered the water without diving. The water in Clear Lake warms up poorly. About 20 degrees near the shore. And as you go deeper it gets colder. At great depths it almost cramps your legs. It's bearable near the shore. I swam about 50 meters and was convinced that the water does not lose its transparency. The depth is decent. 10 meters. No less. If you look closely. Then you can see swimming fish. Schools of fast small fish and large embers moving leisurely in the depths. Similar to terrestrial catfish. 10 minutes later we were safely frozen and went out onto the bridge to warm up. Only now I understood that the area adjacent to the clean lake is pristine. Except for the Palace of Pan. Here's what. No one is resting. I asked. Almost. Sanya answered. The master does not allow it. Swimming in the lake is also prohibited. But we don't care about his rules. The locals don't spit. We. It turns out. The most frostbitten. You can't do that. I shook my head. The lake can't belong to anyone. It is common. Tell this to Pan. Bullet chuckled. He will explain it to you in detail. Think. That everything will change soon. Denis said dreamily. The resort area will be here. No other way. There are few places like this. I remembered about the climate and decided to find out more. I forget to ask about the weather and seasons. Is there winter in these parts? And what time of year is it now? It's the second half of spring now. Sasha Bodrov answered. Winter happens here. But not too heavy. The local year is slightly longer than the Earth's year. But it also has 12 months and the same names. Winter in these parts is in January. Maximum -15. February is already spring. Positive temperature. From 0 to +5. It's quite warm in March and April. It's April now. By the way. From May to September it is summer. Sometimes the unbearable heat lasts for weeks. About 50. Autumn is the same. Like spring. In December from 0 to +5. Good climate. Rains are a frequent occurrence. There is no drought even in hot weather. In winter it snows. But there is not much of it. This is the climate. Good climate. And the explanation is good. I said, subtropical. You can say. Yes. Something like that. Sasha nodded. Asterisk. The hour flew by. And we returned to Pan's palace. The disgruntled guards let us in and led us inside. Inside. What's surprising? There is no Japanese style. Everything inside is in Russian. But at the same time high quality and expensive. In the new Russian style. Many styles were mixed. The furniture is elegant and massive. Sofas made of genuine leather. Pan loves luxury. There is a lot of gilding. And mostly out of place. I didn't like it. We were led into a spacious hall. I immediately described it as throne-like. I'll find out later. That's what everyone calls him. His Majesty Pan sits on a huge gilded throne. There are paintings hanging on the walls. The ceiling is decorated with frescoes, which depict some obscure abstractions. The windows are covered with burgundy curtains from ceiling to floor. Poverty. There is no furniture except the throne. I'll have to stand. The gentleman is still the same. As in the image. Which was given to me back on Earth. A huge fellow. Covered in tattoos. With a mug. Resembling a poorly hewn log. He is dressed in something incomprehensible. Dress. Or whatever it was called. Everything is decorated and golden. Or an outfit. To complete the picture, a crown is needed on the head. Orb in the right hand and scepter in the left. A real king will emerge. Remaining absolutely calm. Laughed to himself. And why didn't anyone talk about this nonsense? The Russian Tsar is sitting in the Japanese palace. It doesn't just smell of idiocy. It stinks of idiocy. Great. Pan. Exclaimed Sashka Bodrov. Hello. Pan answered almost inaudibly and looked at me. He looked at me so intently. Studying and trying to look into the soul. Cold look. Wicked. The look of a killer and a man. Confident in his absolute power. Hello. Tsar. Bullet smiled. Denis Nugumanov refrained from greeting. And I decided to enroll. Like him. I'll keep quiet. All in all. He will ask. I will answer. Pan did not greet Bullet and began to speak quietly. You like to break the rules. Sasha. They told me. What he called a dog handler. You will explain. Why? Because they are puppies. Which you train. They get a lot cheeky. Answered Bodrov. Therefore, I will add. You are a bad dog trainer. Pan. It's better to train dogs. Otherwise I'll have to teach them a little lesson. Young people. And arrogance. Like adult wolfhounds. You know it yourself. A chihuahua will never become an alibi. They're at work. Sasha. Said Pan. Try not to be so aggressive in the future. Here. In the palace. The power belongs to me. And without my knowledge the fighters will not touch anyone. Outside the gates, everything is different. Although the power there is mine too. You might get shot outside the gate. Sasha. Strange. But Pan doesn't use prison slang. Was it intentional? It's not scary. Bodrov waved it off. I caught it. Not fatal. And the next point. Pan continued just as quietly. Rules are created for everyone. And I do not tolerate violations. Swimming is prohibited in Clear Lake. Why are you breaking the rules again? Listen. Pan. Sasha said good-naturedly. Let's get down to business. I swam in the clean lake and will continue to swim. Some rules are not for me. Speak. What did you come with? Pan waved his hand in permission. We'll be drinking soon. Sashka began and nodded his head at me. A large company is gathering. We will celebrate the arrival of a friend. That's why we need a recreation area. We wish to sit here. On the clear lake. We won't disturb you. Bokov will be there. Just in case. Hearing the name of Andreyka Bokov. Pan grimaced slightly. See. And indeed, their relationship is not a bed of roses. Too tense. I think about it all the time. After a short thought, Pan spoke. Are you planning to kill me or not? Sometimes it reaches the point of paranoia. Especially now. Maybe. I need to stop being afraid. Sasha. Stop it. Bodrov shrugged. All your suspicions are false. If we had planned, then they would have done it. You know us. I don't believe you. Sash. Pan said quietly. Feel that you are planning something bad. To stop being afraid is to kill you. Should I stop? Sashka Bodrov laughed a little and answered. You'll kill us. You will die yourself. You know. Andreyka won't stop. Bokov is not immortal either. Pan smiled for the first time. Racer shoots well. Bodrov also smiled. Pan bared his teeth and roared. Are you going to scare me? I haven't needed you for 100 years. Pan. Bodrov waved it off. That's not why I came here. What did you come for? I have already voiced it. Yes means yes. No means no. There is no third option. Pan. Your power has no effect on me. We live in these parts and don't bother anyone. You even more so. We like these places. We are young. You don't. The time will come. And you will retire. Then we'll replace you. All in all. I'm waiting for an answer. Pan. I like your insolence. Sash. Thoughtfully. Said Pan. It's a pity that I don't have such guys. How are you? And like Bokov. Like all of you. If only I had you. Light would be mine. I give the go ahead. Sash. Fine. Bodrov nodded. We'll be here tomorrow at 7 in the evening. We'll leave the next morning. We won't disturb you or your puppies. What about us and the light? Pan. Neither of those. You will never have another one. It would interfere. What's your name? Pan asked. Looking at me again. He seemed not to hear Sashka's words. I didn't think Bodrov was so daring. Nikita Ermakov. I answered calmly. Garbage. Pan asked. I shook my head and answered. Baldo. Pan's left eyebrow rose. Do you speak thieves' language? No. I'm from an orphanage. It was the 90s and the early 2000s. We survived as best we could. Who did they work for? That's where we got our tips from. Lucky. Not involved in crime. Everything is clear with you. Pan said indifferently. You'll go to Wilkins. He will write out a document for you. Passport. It is not fitting for an eyeless person to walk. That's all. Free. We left the palace grounds. The guards locked the gates. Well, how do you like our Panushka? Bullet asked cheerfully. Moron. I answered and headed towards Toyota. Sashka. Dennis and Bullet went home. To the village of Roj. At the fork in the road we stopped and briefly discussed our plan of action. I can return to Sachsenhausen. There's still a long way to go until evening. Interesting. Is Andreyka Bokov back? I won't go to him straight away. I'll drop by Wilkins. Availability of the document. Identification document. I don't care. But I will still get it. So as not to arouse suspicion. I am a respectable citizen. I have arrived and intend to lead a measured life. Asterisk. It didn't take long to find Wilkins. Everything is the same and everything is the same. Having heard that I was at Pan's, and that I need to be issued a passport, he widened his eyes. You're not lying. Call and ask. I answered and pointed to the landline phone. I believe. Wilkins nodded. I'll make you a passport. But it costs 200 credits. Paper is expensive. You understand yourself. No problem. I smiled and took out of my pocket the receipt written out by Foreman for receiving the reward for the bandits. Interesting. Wilkins muttered, studying the paper. Why didn't you receive an award in the village of Rog? You were closer to me. Jarvis. I chuckled. I'll pay. So be it. Wilkins agreed with difficulty. 500. Judging by what is written. Yes. 500. I nodded. Only 7. But 5 are due for payment. Subtract 200 for the passport. I can read. Just in case. Count even more so. Wilkins. After some hesitation, he reached into the drawer and pulled out a 500 credit note and a Chinese smartphone. Pointing the device at me, said, do not move. Passport photo. I was photographed. I needed to shave. Asterisk. Arriving at Bokov's house. I understand that he hasn't returned yet. Pushok met me at the gate and made me very nervous. But after a couple of seconds, the saber-toothed creature lost all interest and camouflaged itself in the area. And then to me, the question arises. Study. I decided to take up weapons and do a little shooting. Sandbags. Placed in a wooden box near the fence. There is no need to worry about the safety of the fence. The AK-15 was equipped with a collimator sight and a silencer. The store was loaded with subsonic cartridges. Can be customized. Most of the time was spent walking to and from the targets. I spent almost an hour fiddling around and completely adjusted the machine to my liking. Fluffy didn't react to my actions at all. He doesn't care. After having spent about 20 minutes courting Toyota, I sat down in the gazebo with a mug of tea and, out of curiosity, tried to find the disguised Pushka. It's not that easy to do. The analog of the extinct Smilodon on Earth is an excellent player of hide and seek. He sees me. I have no doubt. I don't have it. A car drove up to the gate noisily and started honking loudly. Thought that I will see Andreyka Bokov. But instead of him a plump Korean arrived in an old Subaru Forester. The Korean is dressed in a brown hiking suit and massive high boots. The left arm above the elbow is wrapped in a thick layer of bloody cloth. The Korean looks excited and very scared. Where is Andrei? He asked quickly in almost perfect Russian. He's not here. When will it be? Don't know. I answered. Did something happen? Maybe. Can I help? Are you a good shooter? The Korean asked with distrust. Complaints from Tech. Who did you shoot at? There was none. I smiled. Jung Won. The Korean introduced himself and began to talk about the problem that had occurred. I live 7 kilometers from this place. Andrei knows. Where? I have a house there and a small farm. I am engaged in pig farming and poultry breeding. What's wrong with your hand? I asked. It's okay. Almost a scratch. Jung Won reassured. And here is the reason. Which I got hurt on. More terrible. Less than an hour ago, 3 surits got into my farm and managed to eat almost 100 laying hens. I shot 1 surit. But he also managed to escape. He rushed to catch up through a hole made in the wall and ended up injuring his hand. Interesting. I nodded. There is only one problem. Who are the surits? And what should be done with them? Jung Won looked at me like I was an idiot. After thinking a little, Asked. Are you a newbie? It has happened. The first person was found. Who didn't see me as a newcomer? Or is Jung-won just overexcited? I nodded. Yes. Newbie. But I can shoot. He used to be a soldier. Jung-won. Hearing the word soldier, he lit up with joy and pointed at his car. He said quickly. Russian soldiers shoot well. I need help. Take your weapon and let's go. We need to hurry. Because the Surits are running away. I will pay you well. Soldier. That's why. To get ready. It took me about 5 minutes. I didn't know where and why I would go. So I threw an underbarrel grenade launcher and 5 grenades for it into my bag. 3 regular ones. 1 jumping and 1 newfangled GNV-30. Developed by Bright Future. Anything can happen and it's better to be on the safe side. Getting into the car. I saw Jung-won's gun in the back seat of the Forester. Nickel-plated Colt Python and an extremely rare 4-barrel shotgun. Called Furling. I don't know who the gun manufacturer is. But I know that it has barrels of different calibers. 2 smooth barrels of 12 gauge and 2 rifled barrels of smaller diameter. Artilleryman Jung. However, the Korean drove the Forester away from the village. Without worrying about the integrity of the suspension. We turned off the main road onto a slightly packed dirt road. Leading in an unknown direction. Surit is a local animal. Very similar to the terrestrial honey badger. The Korean began to tell. It will be larger in size. About like a well-fed lamb. Head like a honey badger. But more teeth. And they are all sharp. Like a razor. There is a bag under the head. The sac is analogous to a goiter. Which is found in chickens, ducks, geese and other birds. In this bag the Surits store ground food. Surits live in small flocks of 3 to 10 individuals. There is 1 male in the flock. The rest are females. There are also cubs. Of which females can have up to 5. Suratas use burrows for housing. Which dig on their own. Their burrows are huge and communicate with each other. Sometimes their length can reach several hundred meters. And sometimes even more than a kilometer. Have I explained it enough? Almost. I answered. The Korean hates animals so much that he knows almost everything about them. What about the durability and hardness of the skin? Tenacious creatures. Jung grinned. I put 4 bullets into one of the Surits. But this did not stop him from escaping. Hard skin is difficult to break through. Small caliber ricochets. Shot and buckshot are simply crushed. You need to shoot with armor-piercing rounds. You should have said this earlier. I muttered, looking at the AK-15 magazines. Which he equipped with 7.62 US cartridges. The bullet weight of this cartridge is 1.5 times greater than the bullet weight of a standard cartridge. But the initial speed is 2 times lower. This is a subsonic cartridge. I will hope so. That he pierces the skin of unknown Surits. And who came up with such a stupid name for them? Moving along the road. We drove around several low hills and reached the Korean's dwelling. Located in a wide and fairly extended lowland. A large, flat, elongated, 1-story brick house with a fence made of poles. A huge territory and many flimsy outbuildings. He didn't drive up to Jung-won's house and drove on. The lowland stretches for about 5 kilometers and ends at 2 small ones. But mounds stretching upwards. From a distance, the mounds look like a young woman's breasts. Why was I even thinking about breasts? The question arises. They ran away behind the hills. Think. That we'll catch up soon. Surits run slowly. Said the Korean. When we reached the chest hollow. After that, the field expands again. And a moderately undulating terrain with little bush begins. Growing in rare islands. Sometimes the grass becomes unbearably tall. And visibility almost disappears. You have to drive using the instruments. No other way. But this also has its advantages. A visible trace of 3 surits remained in the grass. This pack has drunk so much blood from me that I am ready to hire professional hunters. After another 5 minutes, Jung-won said, "This is the 3rd time in the last 2 months that they have visited me. Nothing but losses. Well, then I would hire you." "I'm thinking," I answered indifferently, "that you lost much more on the chickens than I would pay the hunters. And it wouldn't hurt to build a stronger fence. Yours is only good for scaring drunk badgers." And why did I think of badgers? And also about drunks? I doubt that they exist. These are real hedgehogs. They like to drink. They eat their fill of fermenting grapes in the vineyards and sleep belly up. Interesting. Was what my colleague told me the truth? Thinking about badgers and hedgehogs, I didn't notice as 3 dark gray beasts appeared on the horizon, running waddling across the field. The size is not yet clear. From the back they look like badgers. Healthy badgers who had overeaten themselves to death. There they are. Jung-won shouted joyfully and pressed the gas pedal. The Forester's engine roared and began to accelerate. The shaking became unbearable. "Yes, I see it already," I said and started thinking how to get overgrown badgers. Or maybe honey badgers. The distance to the surits was reduced to about 100 meters. You won't be able to get it out of the car anyway. A waste of ammunition and no result. Are you going to shoot? The Korean squealed. Yes, I will. I hissed and opened the window. I didn't dare to get out into it after it opened, because I saw another beast. From about 300 meters away the beast seemed too large and running quite fast. Surits are harmless gray hamsters in comparison. Beast. Interested in us. A close relative of the terrestrial boar. The body is 1-to-1. But the head is completely different. Elongated and massive. Having a wide mouth and, I have no doubt, sharp teeth. With wild boars. Met in the dead forest. This big guy has nothing in common. He is a predator. Quite a dangerous predator. Weighing at least a ton. The wool is fine. With a greenish tint. Blending perfectly with the terrain. Is this colossus included in the plans? I asked calmly, pointing out the window. Korean One glanced sideways briefly and returned to watching the fleeing surits, which we have almost caught up with and will soon be able to crush. A second later, Vaughn looked out the window again. But this time 3 times faster than lightning. A moment later, a continuous stream of Korean words poured out of his mouth, in which swearing must definitely be present. The Forester's engine roared even louder. And we began to overtake the surits on the left. We managed to see some unknown animals. And I liked them. Is it true? Surits look like honey badgers. Only larger and with a goiter on a wide neck. I don't want to kill them. Jung-won stopped yelling in Korean and switched back to Russian. This is a Brugger. Soldier. Brugger. He will devour the surits too. And us. Shoot. Soldier. Shoot. Remaining absolutely calm as on the outside. And so it is inside. I chose the most comfortable position. Removed the machine gun from the safety catch. Cocked the bolt and fired it at the hillock. Ugh. Bruggeroo. A short cue. Don't know. Did he hit it or not? But the Colossus did not slow down. It seems like I even added a little. I doubt. Which is capable of causing damage to an overgrown boar. Which will be fatal. It's time to call for artillery help. We were about 200 meters ahead of the surits when Brugger caught up with them. The skin is strong. I believe the Korean. But the skin of the surits did not save them. Brugger killed them in about 20 seconds. Caught them one by one on the run. He chopped it up with his powerful jaws and threw it, apparently, Did he leave it for later or simply love to kill? All in all, our affairs are bad. Yes. I asked calmly, why couldn't I just sit in Andraka's yard? Compared to the Brugger, the saber-tooth Fluffy is a cute and affectionate little animal. Interesting. Does Pushka have a chance of taking down this giant? Things are bad. Very bad. The Korean nodded vigorously, gripping the steering wheel with white fingers. He will eat us. It will eat you up. Calm down. I shouted demandingly and gave Jung a light slap in the face. It helped. Oddly enough. We consider Suratov dead. I continued, and they're on my account. Because I'll kill Brugger too. Brugger is a random phenomenon. But you will have to pay for it too. How much will you give? Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong. The Korean was confused. But after a second I understood. What am I talking about? And after thinking about it, exclaimed. Russian humor. How much will you give for the Brugara? I repeated. I'll give you 1,000 credits. Jung-won quickly answered. And Wilkins will give another 5,000. Brugger is a dangerous beast. And his murder is encouraged. If he comes to the village, it will eat many animals and people. You must kill him. Soldier. Yes, I will kill your Brugger. I waved it off and reached into my bag for the underbarrel grenade launcher. Installing an underbarrel grenade launcher is not a difficult task. You attach it to the machine gun and press until it clicks. Next, you need to bring it into combat position. Set the sight to the required distance and send the grenade into the receiver. Having coped, I looked at the Korean with satisfaction and said, let's break the distance as much as possible and stop. We will send gifts to Brugger. It won't work. The Korean quickly answered. He runs fast. You see for yourself. What is catching up? I saw. And tired of shaking. I should have gone in a Toyota. Because it has a much softer suspension. The Subaru is jumping. Like a mountain goat. You will stop on command. I said and climbed into the back seat. It is quite dangerous to be in a terrible shaking situation with a loaded and ready-to-fire grenade launcher. Having secured the machine by setting the safety catch, I took the Korean's 4-barreled shotgun and threw it into the trunk of the Forester. Fortunately, it turned out to be empty. Colt Python followed suit. You'll have to sacrifice the rear window, I said, after stopping. Be ready to continue moving on command. Understood. Understood. The Korean responded nervously. It was about 150 meters to the Brugara that was angrily rushing after us. Not enough. While I'm aiming, the distance will have time to decrease to at least 100 meters. It's quite difficult to hit from 100 meters. I don't know how the grenade launcher behaves. The second shot will be fired from an even shorter distance. If only we could make it. Having moved into the trunk, I broke the glass with the butt of my gun. The shotgun and Colt Python are loaded. And that's good. Extra bullets won't hurt the Brugger. More precisely, will cause harm. Hope that they will cause harm. Slow down. Pyongyang. I shouted and grabbed the AK. Subaru slowed down quickly. He stood up stiffly. Brugger began to catch up quickly. I took aim, as much as the limited space allowed, and sent a grenade at the terrible predator. It was a shortfall. The grenade fell into the ground in front of the Brugger about 2 meters away and exploded. The animal responded to the unexpected bang and hail of shrapnel with a low, chest-high roar and a sharp change in trajectory. Go ahead, I shouted and began to load the second grenade. This time jumping. Jung-won managed to accelerate back to his previous speed. When the Brugard recovered from the blow and began to catch up with us again, I gave the command to stop. After stopping, he took aim and fired again. The second attempt brought a different result. The grenade hit the ground on the right side of the animal's flank. Jumped almost 2 meters and clapped. Good grenades. However, if the delay were a little longer, the explosion would be completely ineffective. And Brugger got it pretty bad. There are probably shrapnel in the side. But will you kill him with this? There is a possibility that the fragments didn't even pierce the skin. And most likely. That's right. Drive. The Korean shouted. Not too fast. I answered and grabbed the gun. It took 3 to 4 seconds to find the fuse. Aim in a couple of seconds. The 12-gauge shots made my shoulder ache and my ears ring. Shots fired from smaller caliber rifles were not felt. Throwing the unnecessary piece of iron onto the back seat, I grabbed the Colt Python and fired all 6 bullets into the beast. Half of them hit the target. I have no doubt. Brugger responded to the senseless attempts to kill him with a roar and acceleration. Doesn't it help? Jung-won shouted quietly. Who managed to accelerate the Forester to cruising speed. The gun really stunned me. On one of the bumps the rear of the car jumped violently. And I hit my head on the ceiling. Not fatal. But unpleasant. Even my vision became a little cloudy. Having loaded the third grenade into the grenade launcher, gave the command stop. Brugger is about 60 meters away. And runs at full speed. I aim and shoot. Luck turned to face me. The grenade hit the animal in the left front leg. Directly into the knee joint. It hit and exploded. Brugger stuck his muzzle into the ground and noticeably plowed it, letting out a scream, similar to a bear's roar. Tried to get up, but couldn't. Go. I shouted and breathed a sigh of relief. We drove about 300 meters away from the wounded animal and stopped. I am absolutely calm. But Jung-won is extremely overexcited. Taking out his gun and cartridge belt from the glove compartment, he started shooting at the Brugger. Bad shooting. Without hitting. Approaching the Korean. Took the gun from him and said, "Let's get behind the wheel. Let's move closer. And I will finish him off." I had to scream. Because Jung-won had gone deaf from the shots. Brugger is unable to move on 3 legs. But does not give up attempts to continue moving. His front legs are more powerful than his back legs and are clearly a priority. Gets up. Growls and falls. Monotony. Jung flatly refused to come close. I had to go on foot. I started shooting from about 20 meters. I didn't dare come closer. First of all, he deprived the animal of its little beady eyes. They seem small in comparison to the size of his body. But in fact they are 5 times larger than human ones. Brugger died from bullets fired from the Korean's gun. With the third shot I pierced the bone and was able to damage the brain. Is he definitely dead? Jung-won asked quietly, looking warily at the Brugger lying in the ground. Deader than ever. I answered, now I'm interested in something else. Is it necessary to drag him to the village? The Korean nodded vigorously. Do you have a tractor? I asked. Yes. Answered Jung-won. Only I doubt it. That it will be possible to drag it. The cart will have to be hitched and loaded. A crane is needed. I saw a crane in the village. I said and went to the car. Let's go. We need to drag this giant to the village before dark. Asterisk. First we stopped by the Korean's home. And he paid me for the work done. 2,000 credits in small bills were a pleasant surprise. 1,000 for the Surits and 1,000 for the Brugger. Using bandages and disinfectant ointment, I bandaged Jung's arm. The wound is not deep. But torn and quite long. Better not to risk it. Next we went to the village and found a 4-wheel drive Japanese truck with a crane in one of the houses. A dissatisfied Pole named Mirosław agreed to deliver a cargo weighing almost a ton for 500 credits. Expensive. But Jung volunteered to pay for the expenses. I was satisfied with this arrangement. having delivered me to Andreyka's house. Jung-won thanked him for the work done and went home. What happened exhausted him both mentally and emotionally. Both physical and non-physical. Me, except for a slight headache. I don't feel anything. The gun makes quite a loud noise. I had to take a painkiller. Andreyka Bokov still hasn't returned. I got into the Toyota and set off to catch up with the Pole. He knows the way to the Korean's house. And then nothing. During our absence, a crowd of some rodents and animals had managed to gather around the carcass of the Brugara. Very similar to terrestrial hyenas. Seeing the transport, the animals retreated to a safe distance. The torn surets managed to disappear. The local animals work quickly. Pole, seeing the carcass of a Brugara, fell into a stupor. It was difficult to convince him that it was I who killed the beast, and without the use of aircraft. It took more than an hour to load. All-wheel drive truck with a manipulator, waddling wearily, rolled towards the village. Asterisk. Onlookers began to crawl out of the cozy nests. As soon as we entered the village, Miroslav made the situation worse, honking loudly as we went along and trying to drive as slowly as possible. We gradually reached the administration building. People wanting to look at the dead Brugara. At least a couple of hundred people gathered, having parked the car right on the road. I walked out to meet the bewildered Wilkins and started smiling. "What is this?" asked the village chief, pointing to the truck. Miroslav. Without wasting time, he had already activated the manipulator and began to gradually raise the dead animal. "This is a Bruga," I answered contentedly. I was jogging nearby. Ate everything. Whatever came my way. I had to take him down. Otherwise he would have eaten me too. Wilkins was speechless. The noisy crowd began to surround us. "Will there be a settlement?" I asked and began to push the head of the village towards the entrance to the administration. "What calculation?" Wilkins blinked his eyes in surprise. 5,000 credits. Jarvis. I answered, "I know the local customs. Don't just stand there like a pillar." Wilkins. "I'm in a hurry." They gave me the money, gritting their teeth, and gave me a clear hint that with my appearance the village budget is inexorably approaching zero. I know what he is striving for. Just recently Wilkins received 6,000 credits from me. Today he returned 5.5. There are still 500 left to return. What could be so useful to create? As I was leaving the village, they almost lifted me into their arms. The particularly meticulous wanted to take a photo with me against the backdrop of a dead Brugara. It turned out that such large beasts had never been seen in these parts before. Now I'm a hero. The unexpected fame will be enough for a couple of days. On the way back I stopped by Modest and made him happy by returning the debt. He didn't drink the tea that was offered to him. "Where did you get the money?" Didn't tell. Citing fatigue and business. Left him and went to Andreyka's home. On the way, I stopped by a local store and bought some dumplings. We arrived at the gate at the same time. Chapter 7. Andreyka was very tired. I volunteered to cook dinner before sitting down at the table. Decided to repay the debt. "Interesting," Andreyka muttered, staring at a stack of credits. "They don't give you money in hand in the evening. It's a sign. Put it on the windowsill and inject yourself." "Where did you get it?" I put the money on the wooden windowsill. And we sat down at the table. I prepared a cucumber and tomato salad to go with the dumplings, as well as 2 sauces with pepper vinegar solution and sour cream. They make mayonnaise in these parts, but it is quite a rare occurrence and spoils just as quickly. Just like sour cream. More precisely, turns sour. Because it is made without chemicals. The earth is nothing but chemicals. A few hours ago, a Korean named Jung-won dropped by to visit and asked for help. I began to tell Let's go hunting for surets. And met a Brugara. Andrijka demanded a detailed story. And I had to retell everything down to the smallest events. When finished, he asked, "You're not lying. What got into the knee joint? What's the point of me lying?" I was surprised. He was aiming for the head when shooting. And hit the joint. Fluke. No other way. Andrijka extended his hand to me. I smiled and shook it. "My congratulations. Nikitos," he said. "You are really lucky. Don't hit the knee. The Brugger would have digested you already. He eats a lot and constantly. Dangerous predator. Fine. That killed him. A little respect from the village residents wouldn't hurt. Now they know you. And is known as a good hunter. In a couple of days, people in neighboring villages will be telling stories about the newcomer who killed the Brugara almost with his bare hands. It's the same here as everywhere else. They like to exaggerate. Mark my words. Usually, when the Bruggers appear, we knock 'em down in a crowd. 5 to 7 vehicles with fighters stuff the beast with bullets. Until he dies. They are tenacious. No one was able to break the legs. But it's worth taking note of. Think that a large caliber is quite capable of smashing a Brugger's knee joint. However, he dies pretty well from a heavy machine gun even with his legs intact. The cooked dumplings are almost gone. And I threw the second batch into the boiling water. Local dumplings. Honestly. So. Made from beef and pork. Which makes me happy. But with too much spice. Not very good dough and poor quality modeling. Dumplings must be made with soul. I remember. In the army. During his service in Syria. For New Year's Eve we decided to make dumplings. Sergeant Major Lyubimov volunteered to lead the process. Good man. Didn't like it. When he was addressed by his last name. Just Vasily Stepanovich. I am one of those who can do almost everything. Went under his leadership. That's when I found out what to make dumplings for. And I also don't know how to prepare dough and minced meat. A properly made dumpling should have an optimal ratio of pork and beef. And the minced meat should not stick to the dough. It is also essential to add pork fat to the minced meat. Otherwise there will be no juice. When the dumpling is thrown into boiling water, the minced meat cooks in its own juice. And this juice should not flow out. You can't overcook dumplings. Otherwise the dough will tear. And the juice will disappear. The juice inside the dumpling is an important point. Proper dumplings are a very tasty dish. There is no juice in local dumplings. Someday I'll buy the right ingredients and make the right dumplings. Let's have a small celebration. Think that Kaylee will be happy. When will my red-haired friend get better? It's stuck. Nikita? Andrijka asked, thus bringing me out of my thoughts. No. I smiled, I'm waiting. Until they boil. I don't want to clean the stove afterwards. Come on, finish the first batch. Andrijka nodded. He threw another dumpling into his mouth and chewed it slowly. Began to tell. All in all, the trip to Voika bore fruit. While I was there, I managed to contact Bodrov and hear the story of the trip to Pan. The plans for tomorrow are as follows. Maxim Efименко and Alina Ravenko will arrive in the morning. We meet them. We're taking Alina to Modest's wife. And Maxim is coming to us. All. Which is impossible to buy in our area. They will bring it from Svetli. Then, closer to lunchtime, we'll go to one of the local farmers to stock up on meat. After lunch you will have 3 hours free. We do everything. Whatever we wish. At 4 we set off towards Clean Lake. We must get there first. Modest and his wife will go too. We'll set off in 3 cars. Because you'll have to carry a lot of things. The fun starts at 7. It's clear with the get-togethers. I nodded, carefully stirring the boiling dumplings. What about the main fun? What time will we launch the fireworks? Definitely not tomorrow. Andreyka answered. Let's go for a walk first. And during the party we'll discuss the fireworks. Come on, get the dumplings. Otherwise I'm not full at all. We went to bed at midnight. Sleep came surprisingly quickly. What did you dream about? I didn't remember. Asterisk. Nick. Wake up. I opened my eyes and saw Andreyka's worried face. The moon shines through the window and dispels the gloom quite well. Did something happen? I asked quietly, shaking off the remnants of sleep. It happened. Andreyka answered. You don't have to keep quiet. The problem is not ours. And at Modest's. He showed me a walkie-talkie and added. He called me a couple of minutes ago. Speaks. That someone is wandering around in his yard. They're not breaking into the house yet. The dog is silent. And that means that she was either put to sleep or killed. The last one. More likely. More accurately. Get ready and let's go. It took me a little over 2 minutes to assemble. Grabbing a machine gun and a pistol. I went out into the yard and saw Andreyka with an Asval machine gun in the company of Pushka, who was calmly lying on the grass. Fluffy is with us. Went. There is no point in taking transport. 5 to 7 minutes of light jogging. And we are there. While we were running, I thought about the air. Here he is different. Completely different. The same as on Earth. By composition. But without harmful impurities. Which have been emitted into the Earth's atmosphere for hundreds of years. Even the air of the Siberian tiger cannot compare in purity to the local air. People have not spoiled this world. Before it gets ruined. There are no more than 100 meters left to Modest's house. And we slowed down. Fluffy is absolutely calm. I forgot to ask. I whispered, can Fluffy take down a Brugger? Maybe. And capable. Andreyka answered just as quietly. But he's not a fool. Even for a saber-toothed cat, it would be suicide to compete with a Brugger in a direct fight. Such creatures must be brought down from a distance. They approached the fence absolutely silently. The village is sleeping. The silence is almost deathly. No barking dogs. No other sounds. In such silence, the slightest sound can be heard tens of meters away. Fluff. For reconnaissance. Andreyka gave the command extremely quietly. Fluffy effortlessly pushed off from the ground and easily jumped over the 2-meter fence. He landed silently and disappeared from sight after a couple of seconds. Do you see anything? I asked, studying Modest Karandashov's plot through the cracks in the slab. From which the fence is made. Andreyka shook his head and silently removed the safety catch from his machine gun. I decided not to take up arms for now. Who knows? Suddenly Modest heard rustling sounds while still half asleep. Modest has a 5-year-old Caucasian guarding his house. Andreyka whispered. Continuing to look through the cracks in the fence. The dog is well trained. Nickname Arrow. During the day he barks extremely rarely. Almost never barks at night. If someone breaks into the yard. Barks menacingly and loudly. Doesn't matter. On an animal or a person. If she didn't bark. Means. Her. More likely. Killed. Because I don't believe in euthanasia. We checked her for Pushka's appearance. Barks at a safe distance. And when he approaches, he begins to whine shrilly. I don't hear any barking or whining. Shadow. Flashed above me. Forced me to veer to the left. Straight to Andreyka. It was a miracle I didn't fall and knock over my comrade. Fluff. Bastard. Nikitos. Be calmer. Andreyka hissed and turned to Pushka, who had sat down on the grass. I asked. What's there? Fluffy yawned lazily and tapped the ground with his front paw. having torn it off with his claws. Andreyka clicked the safety catch on his machine gun, took the radio off his belt, turned it on and gave the command. Turn on the light. Modest. Fluffy figured everything out. A few seconds later, powerful LED floodlights came on throughout the area. And it became light. Like during the day. We entered through the gate and immediately noticed that one of the wooden doors of the garage is open about a meter. Modest ran out of the terrace wearing only shorts and flip-flops with a 12-gauge Saiga in his hands. He didn't pay attention to Pushka and said briefly, "I'll check the arrow." Modest rushed to the far end of the area. And we went to the garage. Fluffy lost interest in what was happening and lay down on the grass. Andreyka was the first to look into the garage, not forgetting to turn on the flashlight he had brought with him. After a few seconds, he muttered quietly, "Fluffy overdid it." I went inside and saw a man lying next to the car. Modest's car is domestic. A rugged-looking UAZ Hunter with the driver's door open. Human. Lying a meter from the door. Does not look unusual. A man a little over 30. With a very pale face. Dressed in a black rag suit. There are several screwdrivers lying next to it. A switched-on LED flashlight and a small box. Together we dragged the body into the light and began examining it. No visible injuries were found on the body. But it stinks terribly. At the moment of his death the man shit himself. Like a little pea. And so on and so forth. Modest returned and reported. The arrow is alive. But paralyzed. There is a dart sticking out of her neck. The schneeri are unfinished. The gentleman is not asleep, said Andreyka, looking at the dead man lying on the ground. More likely. This guy installed a wiretap with a recording function. They would have installed it today. And a few days later they removed it. Well done. Modest. You have good hearing. Not good hearing. And the end. Modest grinned contentedly. I had to take a leak in the middle of the night. I went out onto the terrace and heard something strange. This. He pointed at the dead man. He didn't really keep quiet. It rattled around the garage like a bull in a china shop. You'll clean everything up yourself, Andreyka said indifferently. And we're going home. Get your allotted amount of sleep. Don't forget to search the body and check everything thoroughly. Why did he die? I asked already outside the gate. The village remains deathly quiet. Why did he die? Andreyka was surprised and began to tell. Imagine the picture. The man is rummaging around in the car. Absolutely sure of that. That no one knows about him. He turns the screws and thinks where to attach the box, so that it is invisible and records sound well. At this moment, Fluffy sneaks up on him absolutely silently and starts breathing down his neck. The uncle slowly turns his head and sees a saber-toothed smile in front of him. The rectum is released. The bladder too. My heart is breaking with fear. And death occurs. Finita la comedy. Back home. We drank tea and went to bed. This time I didn't manage to fall asleep as quickly. There were no dreams. And thank God. Asterisk. The morning began with fresh tea, scrambled eggs and rain. It started pouring at dawn. And it doesn't stop yet. I hope our holiday doesn't get ruined. After breakfast, Andreyka headed to the gym, for which one of the rooms of the house is allocated. Working out in the morning is no fun. But I decided not to shirk. It's easy to lose shape. But restoration is long and difficult. There is little sports equipment. A bench press and a barbell with a total weight of 200 kilograms. I definitely can't do a deadlift or squat with that kind of weight. Not a record holder in this matter. There is nothing to say about the bench press. My working weight is 130 kilograms in the bench press. 170 deadlift and 150 squat. If you wish, I can raise more. But why do I need this? I'm not planning on building mountains of muscle. For some people, even these figures are enormous. In addition to the above, there are dumbbells weighing 50 kilos each. Horizontal bar. A punching bag and 2 kettlebells. Weighing 32 and 24 kilograms. It wouldn't hurt to get some exercise equipment. Local craftsmen are certainly capable of making them. We trained for almost an hour. Tired. Sweaty and hungry. There's not much in Andreyka's fridge. Therefore, it was decided to go to Modestus. His refrigerator is always full. Modest provided us with a buffet. And we started to put what we liked on plates. I cut myself a sizable piece of pork roll. And also indulged in mashed potatoes and smoked lamb ribs. Modest began his story. To know who was the lucky one of the night, I couldn't. Took him to Wilkins. But first I studied it. Not a single tattoo on the body. Age. Early 30s. By nationality he seems to be Russian. He had a few tools with him. A coil of wires and a box with a recording device. I wanted to connect it to the wiring and turn it on for permanent recording. A 32 gig flash drive. I would have written down a lot. What did Wilkins say? I asked. What can he say? Andreyka was surprised. Our Wilkins has already snitched to Pan. He reports everything to him. Yes. He said. What will he report to Pan? Modest answered. And he said something else. For me to pass on to Nikita. That his passport is ready. Works quickly. I noticed, I'll have to drop by. But first I'll stop by Kaylee's. Hasn't she woken up yet? Asked Modest. Maybe. That I've already woken up. I don't know yet. Thanking Modest for the delicious reception. We left. I took Andreyka home. Because guests are due to arrive soon. And he himself went about his business. Asterisk. Dr. Brunneman made me happy from the very beginning. He knows English. And good enough. But sometimes he involuntarily starts to creak in German. This time everything went well. Oh, Nick. Brunneman exclaimed. Seeing me. Thought. That you won't come. How are you feeling? Your girlfriend Kaylee came to her senses at night. Got scared. But I calmed her down. Waiting for you. I feel fine. I answered and shook the doctor's hand. That Kaylee woke up. Fine. How much longer will she stay with you? Can you tell me? I can send her home right now. Brunneman smiled. But only with strict adherence to bed rest and medication. Which I will give. Ready for this? Nick. If not. Then let the girl finish her treatment with me. I quickly considered the options. There's no point in leaving Kaylee here. Let's start the mess. And she will be a tasty morsel. Hostage. I'll take you to Andreyka's home. You couldn't come up with a better security gun. Write her out. Doctor. I decided. I've already written it out. The German smiled. I don't have bureaucracy. Everything is in words. Wilkins said. That you have paid for everything. So there are no questions. I smiled back. This is good. What is paid for? Kaylee. Seeing me. I wanted to jump out of bed. I managed to stop her from doing this and convince her. That piece is very important in this case. The illness affected her appearance. The face became haggard and too pale. I lost at least 5 kilograms. Nothing. Will quickly gain. A couple of visits to Modest and anyone will get it. When will I be discharged? Nick. My red-haired friend asked with a pleading look in her eyes. Already discharged. I smiled. Now Brunneman will collect the necessary medicines. We'll give you and me an injection. And we'll go home. Kaylee's eyes widened. Home. You managed to buy us a house. Nick. No. I smiled, noticing the word, us. For now we'll live with a good person. If everything goes well. Then soon we will have a house. Are you happy? My red-haired friend finally jumped out of bed and hung on my neck. She even kissed me on the cheek. Asterisk. The rain stopped just as abruptly as it began. There was no trace left of the heavy clouds. Sun, having entered into legal rights, began to mercilessly evaporate moisture. It will soon become stuffy. He didn't stay with Jarvis Wilkins for long. I received my passport and said that for Kaylee it could be done later, because she hasn't recovered yet. The passport turned out to be a laminated piece of paper, which has my photo, first and last name, date of birth and identification number. Wilkins took the data from an old passport, which I also took. I doubt that will come in handy someday. But let it be. Andriaca, seeing Kaylee, showed a thumb. My red-haired friend liked his house, having shown the room and convinced that strict bed rest is necessary. I introduced the Irish girl to Pushka, seeing a saber-toothed cat. Kaylee was horrified and said that he will not leave the house under any circumstances. This is exactly what I need. At exactly 11 in the morning, a stern, camouflage-colored Mercedes Geländewagen pulled up to the gate. Changed. How could it be without it? Winches front and rear. Roof rack. Powerful bumper. Snorkels and huge angry wheels. Andriaca and I went out to greet the guests. But I had to meet the guest. Maxim has already taken Alina Ravenko to Modest. You can't tell by Maxim Efemenko's appearance that he is Belarusian. An ordinary Russian man. And with what? As a matter of fact. Are we different from Belarusians and Ukrainians? We are connected by a huge history. Maxim is of average height and wiry build. Next to him, Andriaca looks like a muscle man. Maxim is 36 years old, if my memory serves me right. Dressed in a light army suit. On his feet are high boots. And on his head is a cap. The face is covered with daily stubble. I remember this again and again. That you need to shave. Even the Mujahideen would envy my beard. Greetings. Maxim exclaimed and took Andriaca into his arms. I brought Alyonka to Modest, just in case. Hello, hello. Andriaca answered. Patted his friend on the back and opened the embrace. Pointed at me and introduced me. This is Nikita Ermakov. New to our world. Arrived a few days ago. But he has already managed to get into some serious trouble. Maxim took a step towards me. Smiled and extended his hand. Said. Maxim Efemenko. I smiled back. Shook the sinewy palm and said. Nikita Ermakov. We met. It's time to know when to stop. Andriaca pointed to the gate. We're driving yours and going on mine. We'll go in mine. Answered Maxim. If anyone wants to evaluate the Gelik, feel free to get behind the wheel. But first, tea. I'm tired from the road. Despite my instructions, Kaylee did not stay on bed rest. Among many things Andriaca has. Clothes were found for her. Fits the figure perfectly. A pair of tracksuits. Several jeans. T-shirts and sweatshirts. For whom the clothes were purchased. Bokov didn't say. But we are not interested in this. My house has been in need of a woman's hand for a long time. Andriaca said joyfully. Having seen that Kaylee washes the dishes. Just without fanaticism. Okay. The house is all yours. Do whatever you want. Kaylee stopped washing the dishes and looked at me in surprise. Everything is fine. I reassured him in English. He's speaking. Make yourself at home. Everything is at your disposal. We'll pour some tea and sit outside. I will do everything. Kaylee smiled and began to prepare tea for us. She doesn't understand Russian yet. I said to Andryka and Maxim. I'll fix this soon. Think that in a couple of months he will know Russian quite well. Kaylee, you are a good girl. Andryka said in perfect English and smiled. Thank you. Kaylee smiled in response and continued cutting the sausage. Woosy Pussy got scammed. Maxim said discontentedly. Bokov, when did you become so kind? Let's take our mugs and go outside. The English mother of them. We took mugs of tea and 2 plates filled with cookies, bread and sausage with cheese. I am especially surprised by the cheese and sausage. Earthly. From the store. Can't compare with the locals. Everything is 100% natural. Is it true? There is one downside. Natural means perishable. It was worth sitting in the gazebo and relaxing. How the old counterintelligence officer Yegorov appeared absolutely silently and stood discontentedly at the entrance to the gazebo. He took the pipe out of his mouth and croaked. The kids are getting cocky. However, grandfather is not visited at all. Come on, Andryusha. Please the old man's soul with good tea. And hurry up. Bokov. Without saying a word, he left the gazebo and went for the 4th mug. Grandfather Yura wearily walked into the gazebo and sat down next to me. Looking at Maxim, said, Let's scout. Tell me, with what he came. You are forgetting me. Previously, people would go to the old man first. They asked for advice. Grandfather. Well, don't start. Maxim waved it off. I was just late. I wanted to get things done first. And then I'll come see you. You know, right? That you won't come to visit quickly. At least 2 hours. Grandfather. I was surprised. Why are you surprised? Yegorov frowned. I'm a grandfather. I've been a grandfather for about 40 years now. Grandpa for all of you. We are not relatives. You don't have to think about it. I'm like an encyclopedia here. Then it's clear. I nodded that. That old counterintelligence officer. Walking encyclopedia. There is no doubt about it. Of all of us, he has been in this world the longest and knows it the best. We can't compare to him. Andryka returned and handed Grandpa Yura a mug of strong tea with milk. As you like. He added. The one I like. There is none here. Yegorov muttered discontentedly. A minute of silence passed. We're waiting. When the counterintelligence officer starts talking, we wait and chew sandwiches. Not forgetting to wash them down with tea. I thought. Grandfather Yura finally spoke. And here's what I thought of. All of you. He looked sternly at each of us. Brats. The milk on your lips is still wet. What did you think of? Seize power. But you need it. This power. Grandfather. Well, don't start. Maxim almost begged. Yes. Grandfather. Don't start. Andryka supported. I decided to remain silent. Why not start? The old counterintelligence officer was indignant. I'll begin. And I'll start again. Look at what they've come up with. Whose idea was it to throw a drinking party right next to Pan? General. Bokov answered guiltily. Fools. By God, you're stupid. Grandfather Yura shook his head with dissatisfaction. You think that they are the smartest? Yes. Do you want to throw a drinking party and thereby mislead Pan? Conduct some more reconnaissance. Maxim added. Thereby agreeing with the questions asked. Well. Then listen to my answer. Yegorov stated firmly and began to speak. The gentleman is a cowardly man. Power makes everyone and everything afraid. Gathering at his side, you automatically declare. Here we are. Pan. Gathered to relax. To scout out the situation and mislead you. We won't kill today. Let's drink. We'll start killing a little later. Tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Or in 5 days. Week. What will Pan do? He will be scared. I'm already scared. More precisely. The sworn enemy is gathering together. The goal is reconnaissance. Even the dumbest person will get scared and take action. The master has already accepted them. Don't doubt it. And will continue to accept. Will strengthen security. Will call upon paid mercenaries. Paranoia is a terrible thing. The further, the stronger it is. You want to kill Pan. Do it today. Until he got completely scared. You won't have that opportunity tomorrow. Mark my words. You laid everything out beautifully. Grandfather. Maxim muttered. But I see the situation differently. I don't care. How do you see her? Yegorov raised his voice. If I said so. That you will kill Pan today. Means. You will do it. Or are you going to contradict me? Absolutely not. Maxim answered guiltily and lowered his gaze. Why are you silent? Grandfather Yura turned his head sharply and looked at me. Then he turned his gaze to Andreyka and added. And you? Have you swallowed your tongues? Absolutely not. Andreyka answered. Becoming like a naughty boy. Absolutely not. I added. Grandfather Yura stood up tiredly. Approached the exit from the gazebo. Turned around and continued broadcasting. Today it all starts. Tomorrow all 3 villages will be ours. Do it. Or you don't have to show your face to me. And without losses. For each of ours, I will ask all 3 of you. You brewed this. It's up to you to clean up. The task has been set, carry it out. I'm leaving. Thank you for the tea. Andryusha. You ruined my whole mood. Old. Andreyka muttered. When Egorov left. Think. That he is right. I said, there is sense in his words. You put yourself in Pan's place and you understand. That I would have done the same. But I would have strengthened the defense yesterday. Yes. There is meaning. Maxim agreed. The old counterintelligence officer never made mistakes. At least. During that time. That I know him. If he said. Then we will do it. Certainly. We will. Andreyka waved it off. Where can we go now? Having finished drinking tea. We cleared the table. Andreyka went to take away the dirty dishes. And Maxim Efemenko showed unexpected interest in my pistol. Seeing it in the holster on his belt. Nikitos. You have an interesting toy. He said. Will you appreciate it? I pulled the Place 15 out of the holster and handed it to Maxim. Nice little gun. Russian. As I see it. New. It fits perfectly in the hand. The weight is small. I like. Place 15 a pistol. Lebedeva. I answered, relatively new. So to speak. I liked it. I wanted to. Certainly. Something imported. Glock or Beretta. Alas. But there wasn't enough money. Having tested this gun. I fell in love with him. Yaragan. Which I had the chance to use in the army. Nervously smokes on the side. What are you looking at? Asked Andreyka, who had returned, and stared at the pistol. Are you looking at the barrel? I've been meaning to ask. Nikita. What kind of toy is this? Place 15 a pistol. Lebedeva. I repeated. Will you allow me? Maxim asked with a smile. Yes please. I answered. Maxim didn't look for a target for long and decided to shoot at a woodpile. A few seconds to study the gun. Bringing into combat mode. Aiming and shooting. I covered my ears in advance. 3 shots were enough for Maxim to give a verdict. Nice easy descent. I like this gun. There is a ringing in my ears. Truth. Can't tell me. Where can I buy a second one like this? I have that same Yaragan. And it seems so. It's time for him to retire. It's unlikely that you can buy it here. I answered, although who knows? Where is the nearest gun store? In the 2. But he is complete. Andreyka took the pistol from Maxim and began to examine it. Yes. Maxim agreed. The store in Voika is so-so. They sell old junk and common cartridges. There is also a store in Svetli. Or more precisely, 2. One is tailored for NATO. Another under our arms. I have never seen such a pistol among them. Maybe. Can be found in the center of the continent. By the way, my advice to you. You probably use domestic cartridges. And their quality is not the best. It's better to take imported ones. You'll save the barrel. Their mouths opened. Ears closed. Andreyka commanded and began shooting at the woodpile. Having fired 2 shots. Exclaimed. I like. The descent is really awesome. I have a PM. TT. Stekkan and Yaragan. There is also a Walter and a Chisit with a huge range. This gun is clearly superior to them. The recoil is pleasant and almost imperceptible. Quick return of sight. Nikitos. Do you have a muffler for it? I had to go get a muffler. And then with cartridges. We tested the pistol for almost an hour. We were playing. Like little children. So to speak. Now I'll have to clean it. The number of shots has exceeded the first 100. Asterisk. I expected. That under the hood of the Geländewagen there is a V12. But it turned out that way. That there is a 5-liter gasoline V8 from the early 90s sitting there. Capable of producing just over 200 horsepower. My Toyota can't keep up with the Gelik. But it also cannot be called a fast machine. The weight and powerful wheels are eaten up by the horses. The car is nimble. But not that much. Sasha Bodrov's Audi will wipe the floor with Gelik with ease. What did you want? Nikita. Maxim was surprised. You want power. Take a modern one. With a 12-cylinder engine. 6 liters of volume and 600 horsepower under the hood. And don't slander my Gelik. If you need to stomp. I'll stamp my feet and get away from the chase. Few can catch up with me. Having tested the Mercedes Geländewagen. I can say one thing. He's not bad. Not the best car for this world. But not the worst. Toyota Surf loses only in power. But in other respects it is superior. Comfortable. Spacious. Not so gluttonous and most importantly. Reliable. What is the average consumption? I asked. High consumption. Nikita. Maxim answered with disappointment. But. God bless. Not picky about gasoline. His consumption is 30 or more. Andreyka said cheerfully from the back seat. I speak boldly. The Gelik is not for this world. I would sell it to hell and buy something normal. Land Cruiser 80. Or 100. 105th. I won't sell. Max snapped. I paid 3 lemmas for it. Your Russian rubles. This is a limited edition. Just in case. I got the one with less than 20,000 kilometers on the odometer. There's still a lot of work to be done on it. What a pity. That the consumption is high. But no spare parts are needed. My Gelik doesn't break down. They didn't argue with Maxim. Any car breaks down. When the time comes. Only a crowbar doesn't break. It usually bends. Stopping the car at the desired house. I returned the keys to the owner. A 10-minute ride on the G-Class was enough. I even started to miss the Mercedes. Someone in the old world travels and rejoices. We came to a Ukrainian named Nestor to stock up on meat. A healthy man over 50 years old. Pig breeding specialist. We need meat for barbecue, let's go to Nestor's. Said Andreyka. They took a decent amount of meat. More than 20 kilograms. The meat is fresh and was still running and grunting yesterday. Nesta volunteered to marinate it for shashlik for a pittance. We chose 5 types of marinade and 20 minutes later received 5 packages, each weighing over 4 kilograms. Having paid, moved towards a man named Zurab. Buy some drinks. The basement in Zurab's house is an alcoholic stream. There is everything. Whatever you wish. Everything is local. Naturally. They collected a decent amount and couldn't carry it all away in one trip. We're going to drink. And not to kill. More precisely. We're pretending. There is no need to arouse suspicion. In the next hour, vegetables were purchased. Fish. Meat and sausages for slices and sandwiches. All kinds of sauces and other small items. We also bought charcoal for barbecue. Which is not very common. An idea for the future. Just in case. Making charcoal is not that difficult. And it's expensive in these parts. 100 credits for 3 kilograms, while diesel fuel costs 10 credits per liter. Arriving at Andrejka's house for the 3rd time. We transferred the purchases to my Toyota and breathed a sigh of relief. The tasks have been completed. And you can relax. Maxim Efemenko went to visit his grandfather Yura. Andrejka decided to take a walk to Modest. And I went to Kaylee. There will be a serious conversation. Asterisk. Fidgety Kaylee is tidying up Andrejka's house. It's been almost nothing. And her face had time to transform. A healthy blush appeared on the cheeks. Means. Is actively recovering. Kaylee. We need to have a serious talk. I said and sat down on the sofa. I'm listening. She smiled and continued to wield the rag. There is a lot of dust in the house. But very soon it will disappear. You will be alone in the house this evening. I began, and at night too. And in the morning. More likely. We still won't be here. Are you going somewhere? Kaylee frowned and looked at me intently. I got to thinking. To lie or to tell the truth? If I lie, she will find out anyway over time. Where we were and what we did. I'll tell you the truth. Unknown. How will he react to it? I decided to tell it like it is. The truth. We'll go kill Kaylee. I answered quietly. The Irishwoman was embarrassed and it seems fell into a stupor. Kill bad people. I added just as quietly. And if you get killed? Kaylee asked a minute later. What will happen to me? I stood up. He walked up to his Irish girlfriend and hugged her. Yes, yes. Precisely to your own. She is mine and no one else's. I saved her, I'm the one who's responsible for her. If he wants to leave. That's a different matter. I doubt. Whatever he wants. Kaylee pressed herself against my chest and hugged me back. They won't kill. Quiet. But I said convincingly, I promise. That they won't kill. No. It didn't come to kissing. It could have happened. But I didn't. It's too early for us to kiss. Let's wait. I'm not used to it yet. I don't feel it. Don't know. What I want. I want to understand. Understand. Do I have a future with Kaylee? I just don't need sex. I just had sex with Masha from the dark future. And with girls. Which were before her. I'm tired of it. Honestly. New world, new life. I'll try to fall in love. Asterisk. How did it go? Andrejka asked. When I went outside. About 30 minutes passed. And he managed to return from Modest. It went well. I replied, you convinced me. That everything will be fine. He told the truth. Well, that's right. Andrejka supported. The truth is better than a lie. No matter how you look at it. At least. I'm not ashamed in front of myself. But sometimes it's easier to lie. Yes. I agreed, sometimes it's easier to lie. Fluffy meowed so unexpectedly. What I thought. Should I just get out of here? The sound of meowing resembles only relatively quicker. It sounds like a terrible roar. Even the meowing of cats. Who decided to find out? Which of them is cooler in the dark alley at that moment? When you walked by there and thought about the beautiful. Seems like a light noise. Incapable of exciting the nervous system. Don't be afraid. Andreyka immediately calmed down and shouted. Fluff. Silence. I heard you. What is he yelling about? I asked fearfully, are you hungry? If only. Andreyka answered. When he wants to eat. Then it meows or purrs tenderly. This sound speaks. That Fluffy is worried. Danger. Nikita. Streams of attention are coming our way. I said so. That the saber-toothed creatures of this world are empaths. Someone is interested in us. And this interest has an aggressive character. My Toyota is closer. And we quickly climbed onto it. From the roof of the car you can see a large part of the village of Sachsenhausen. All the nearest hills and a half-kilometer-long section of road. Leading to neighboring villages and the city of Svetli. There. Beyond the visibility of the road. A cloud of dust noticeably rising into the air. The column is dusty. I said, at least 4 cars are coming. Could Fluffy sense danger at such a distance? If they want to kill me. Then no. Andreyka quietly shook his head. If they want to kill him. Then yes. They are coming to us. Nikita. There is no doubt about it. And they travel with one goal. Kill. It seems. That Pan was tired of being afraid. Things are bad. The first culprit. Raising dust. Showed up. And I recognized one of the French Hummers. Standing guard at the checkpoint in the village of Roj. That one is coming to us. On the roof of which there is a fully functional large caliber machine gun. It would have been better if they had sent him with a non-working gun. You can't fight with a machine gun. These are mercenaries. Andreyka said tiredly and jumped off the roof. Already added on the ground. Means. Pan's boys are following them. Extreme measures. They sent a whole platoon after our souls. A second car appeared, a black SUV. Understand. What brand? It is not possible yet. Looks like a Chevrolet Tahoe. Jump off. Nikita. And off they went. Andreyka called. We won't be able to escape anyway. There is only one option. Let's fight. I doubt. That makes sense. I jumped. I quickly looked around the area and understood. That a French Hummer will drive into the yard or through the gate. Or by breaking through the fence. We are unable to stop him. There is no point in giving battle either. No heavy weapons. No good shelter. The house stands alone on the outskirts of the village. Trap. We fight and die almost immediately. I said, I don't know. How are you? I know the capabilities of large caliber machine guns. Andreyk. It's easier for us to shoot ourselves. Andreyka wanted to answer. But at that moment a voice filled the area. Broadcast from a loudspeaker. Installed in a French Hummer. Bokov. Resistance is futile. This is Zubarev speaking. I suggest not making any sudden movements. You behave calmly. And we don't pull the trigger. Andreyk. I don't want to kill you. We have Pan's order. Show understanding. Andreyka sat down on the grass. Where I stood. And grabbed his head. And put your kitten on a chain. Otherwise, you know yourself. What will become of him? Added a certain Zubarev. Fluff. Sit quietly. Andreyka commanded. Continuing to look at the ground. I don't know. What to do and where to run. Asked. Options. And they exist. Nikita. Andreyka was surprised. We just wait and that's it. You heard. what they said. The gate swung open from the impact of a powerful bumper. And into the yard. Despite the neatly mown grass, a French Hummer flew in. 3 black Chevrolet Tahoes drove in behind him. The 4th remained at the gate. Because he simply didn't have enough space. By that time Andreyka and I were standing at the entrance to the house. My weapon is a pistol. But Bokov is empty. And why do we need weapons? What if you decide to give up? The first to emerge from the Hummer was a big guy dressed in camouflage. A crimson beret adorns his head. Armed with a Pekkaneg machine gun. The face is evil and ready to kill. This is Zuba. He is the commander of the mercenaries. Said Andreyka and turned to the big guy. Hello. Zuba. Here I am, unarmed and ready to surrender. Are you happy? And may you stay healthy. Bokov. Zuba answered and headed towards us. The fighters climbed out of the cars. Indeed. At least a platoon will be assembled. There are only 6 mercenaries. Including recent acquaintance Foman. The rest of Pan's fighters. They have a mania for tattoos. Or what? Zubarev came up to us and began to stare intently. Turning to his own. Commanded. Search everything here. Including the house. Bokov. Where is your beast? On the territory. Andreyka answered calmly. You're not pissing yourself. Until I order it, it won't touch. Are you going to set conditions for me? Zuba barked. He has a good voice. Just give commands. I just warned you. Andreyka said indifferently. Zuba extended his hand and demanded. Gun. I reluctantly pulled the Place 15 out of the holster and handed it over. Interesting. Zuba muttered. This is Lebedev's pistol. I've been dreaming of getting this for my collection for a long time. Dreams come true. Not for long. Andreyka growled. Instantly becoming angry. Zuba. Are you crazy? You understand. What is this war? Understand. That you won't survive. Andreyk. A satisfied grin appeared on Zuba's face. The master ordered me to take you alive or dead. He pointed my gun at Bokov's head. Do you want it dead? I'll tell you. That offered resistance. The noise of emergency braking on a dirt road was heard. Maxim Efemenko's Geländewagen miraculously avoided crashing into the rear Chevrolet Tahoe. At least 10 guns were immediately pointed at him. Maxim didn't keep us waiting and jumped out of the car. Walked towards us with a brisk step. Here comes Maximka. Zuba said contentedly. He was also ordered to be taken. They ordered your whole gang to gather together. Maxim Efemenko is beaming with joy. Not paying attention to the trunks. Which were directed at him. When did he manage to recover? Or did you put armor on under your suit? Stopping in front of Zuba. Maxim extended his hand and said. Don't you want to say hello? Great. Zuba answered confusedly. I put my pistol under my belt and shook Maxim's hand. Maxim made just one movement with his free left hand. And the click of handcuffs was heard. Why did he attach Zuba to himself? Maxim attached his left hand to Zuba's right. Are you a fool? Zuba's eyes widened and he looked at Maxim. Like an idiot. Something like that. He smiled and with his free right hand he took a small wireless detonator out of his pocket. Having demonstrated it. Added. Unbutton my jacket. Otherwise I started sweating for some reason. Explosives. Zuba barked and pulled Maxim towards himself. She is the one. Answered Maxim. Without moving from the spot. The handcuffs just clicked. Squeezing his hands even tighter. There will definitely be bruises. I'll press the button now. Said Maxim and pressed the detonator button with his thumb. Everyone twitched. I am Bokov. Zuba and his fighters. They twitched. But nothing happened. Don't piss yourself. Holding back laughter. Said Maxim. My detonator has been reconfigured. Pressing will not cause an explosion. But if I let go, there will be a serious bang. Got it? Zuba. Are you an idiot? The head of the mercenaries roared. He gave orders to his guys. Everyone stand still and don't move. I forbid shooting. The crazy guy showed up. You're an idiot yourself. Zuba. Maxim answered with a smile. Me. Unlike you. Normal. I'll ask again. Unbutton my jacket. Hot. Zuba took the tongue of the zipper on Maxim's light jacket with extreme caution and pulled it down. Dark red Semtex briquettes came into view. Tightly seated next to each other and entwined with thin wires. Semtex is a plastic explosive, which is based on hexogen. I had a chance to see it in Syria. How Semtex works. There is no particular difference with the well-known C4. They both kill beautifully. Your mother. Bokov exclaimed. I whistled quietly. Your division. Zuba muttered. I have about 20 kilograms of hexogen on me. Maxim said calmly. Twice as much is in the car and is also hooked up to the detonator. In case anyone doesn't know. What is Semtex? I declare it boldly. It is more powerful than TNT. I'll let go of the button and no one will survive. Anyone interested in checking it out? Several fighters, standing at the gate, began to quietly back away. Stand. Bitches. Zuba growled menacingly. You decide to leave. I'll shoot you personally. Don't know. Is Maxim lying about the explosives in the car? But that. What is hung on it? Enough. To intimidate everyone present. I don't feel like it. So that he releases the button. Oh. I don't want to. Trust in God. And don't be lazy yourself. Said Maxim. Looking intently at Zuba. Have you heard this saying? As you can see. I'm not being lazy. I took a little precaution. Think. That you are ready for negotiations. Right. Right. Zuba answered through clenched teeth. Well. Then let's go. Maxim jerked his hand and dragged Zuba towards the French Hummer. Let's go on it. We'll talk in the field. Because it's more reliable. There is no need to damage the property. If something goes wrong, let your guys jump behind the wheel. A Panofsky Pasazirami Pobudu. Yours are more reliable. They definitely won't dump him. Nikita and Andreyka will go in my Gelik. Did I explain everything clearly? It's clear. Zuba muttered and began to command. 3 minutes later we got into the cars and headed out to the nearest field. Or more precisely, up the hill. Check. Is there explosives in the trunk or not? Andreyka asked. Sat behind the wheel. I don't want to check. I answered sharply, it is necessary. Check it yourself. Don't want. Andreyka shook his head. Scary. How can it not be scary? Wireless detonators are not very reliable. Glitch and that. Even understand. That they died. We won't have time. Max is a handsome guy. Said Andreyka. That's a pretty good insurance policy. And I had to think of it. Put on your suicide belt. 20 kilos of Semtex. Where did he get it? And we have 40 more in the trunk. I don't know Maxim Efemenko well. Yeah. Was all I answered. Andreyka stopped the Gelik behind the Hummer. Chevrolet Jeeps reluctantly crawled up. Just as reluctantly, everyone began to get out of the cars. Right now I am your king and god. Maxim, still handcuffed to Zuba, began to broadcast. You all depend on my thumb. He will get tired and you will die. Max. Zuba began. I'm in my 40s, Max. Maxim barked. What am I saying? That's what we do. All agree. If yes, then just keep quiet. We disagree. Tell me about it. None of the fighters dared to open their mouths. Zuba bared his teeth. But he also remained silent. The primary task. Put all the weapons in one of the cars. Maxim continued. You ordered it, we do it. For about 10 seconds no one dared to move. And then one of the fighters lost his nerve. It turned out to be a 20-year-old boy with a snake tattooed on his neck. Armed with an AK-103. Approaching the outermost Chevrolet. He opened the door and threw the machine gun into the car. The pistol followed him. And then unloading. Nice guy. Said Maxim. We repeat. Andreyek. Take the machine gun and Nikita's pistol from Zuba. Them there too. Let's talk without weapons. We are no exception. 2 minutes and no one had any weapons left. Maxim watched everyone closely. Everyone disarmed. No doubt. They even left the knives behind. Now I am calm. Zuba. Maxim smiled. Now we can talk. Speak. Zuba began to twitch his hand. Trying to free her from the handcuffs. Max. You're a complete psycho. What have you done? Freak. Have you decided to send me to the next world? Max. Deactivate the damn explosives. I beg of God. Look how he got going. Got scared. Means. Stern Zuba. Of course. Scary. Everyone is scared. Look at Pan's brave guys. And I want to laugh. They arrived tanned and cheerful. And now pale. Like the dead. Everyone wants to live. Stop insulting me. Zuba. Maxim asked quietly. I didn't hang myself with explosives for no reason. You came to kill my friends. We responded accordingly. What don't you like? You and your guys will stay alive. Pan's boys are unlikely. Everything is fair. Right. Zuba's eyes widened sharply. Didn't understand. What? One of the fighters shouted in fear. A guy my age with a neat scar on his left cheek. With a knife left behind. No other way. What did you hear? Maxim answered calmly and turned to Zuba again. Let your guys move away from Pan's guys. I won't kill anyone for now. But if someone moves, then he will die. The old man sees everything. 100 years. And shoots without missing. The commotion began. Zuba's fighters retreated towards us. Fighters. Sent by Pan. Became worried. But they didn't move from their place. Could it be that the old counterintelligence officer Yegorov is somewhere nearby? Or has he been here for a long time? I don't believe it. That everything is planned. Give the command. Andryusha. Maxim asked. Close your eyes. Bokov told me and immediately added. Fluff. Your turn. Sabretooth appeared silently. Saw him jump. A huge cat. Which had managed to change color and blend into the terrain. Knocked down 2 fighters and continued killing. A touch with a paw, the fighter falls with a torn throat. Bite. Another fighter dies. Because the Sabretooth's fangs are excellent at biting through the skull bone. The seconds drag on. There were 5 of them. Maybe 7. Just 7 seconds. To kill 20-odd people. 7 seconds. During which the formidable predator managed to do a lot. Is a man with a machine gun in his hands capable of such a thing? No. Not capable. Pan's fighters scattered. But they didn't have time. For a saber-toothed cat, they're like turtles. The reaction of cats is high. Too high. We stood and looked at the dying people. I am Andrei Bokov. Maxim Efemenko. Zuba and his 5 fighters. They watched in silence. Someone with indifference. And someone with horror on their face. Fear enveloped me from head to toe. Fear. Caused by groans. Blood and the smell of death. Fluff. Having finished the job. He calmly lay down on the grass and began to wash himself. Blood. In which he got dirty. He doesn't like it. A terrible mouth. adorned with two powerful fangs, became burgundy. Thick drops fall from it. Very soon these drops will be absorbed into the ground. You see. Zuba. Maxim was the first to break the silence. You see. What happens when you don't think ahead? We anticipated Pan's actions and took some precautions. You and your guys are mercenaries. We decided not to touch you. Why kill those who is innocent? You are just watchdogs. People who sell their skills for money. In this case, you are nobody. Zuba did not come out of his trance. He continued to stand and look at Pan's dying fighters. To look and not understand. What happened? I walked up to the Chevrolet on weak legs, in which we laid down our weapons, and found his pistol. A shot to the fighter's head with complete indifference, trying to collect his own intestines. A deep wound on the abdomen means only one thing: death. A long and painful death. The saber-tooth's claws tore through many organs. Long and sharp claws. The second bullet hit a soldier with a bitten shoulder. Fluffy bit him only once. But that's enough to crush most of the bones and leave deep wounds. Then came the third and fourth bullets. And then I lost count. The last fighter ran out of ammo. The gun clicked. The fighter looked at me with horror in his eyes and his mouth open in a silent scream. The claws slashed the sternum. Lungs are visible in the wound, from which blood-colored foam comes out. Too tenacious. Someone else's shot made me flinch. The fighter went limp. Grandfather Yura fired. Old counterintelligence officer Egorov. The show is over, he said quietly and put the TT pistol somewhere under his jacket. Too dirty. It's disgusting to watch. It needs to be removed. The car will arrive now. The pit is already waiting. You started a war. Zuba suddenly exploded. Seems he's close to hysteria. You understand what will happen? Pan's whole gang will start hunting us. This is war. A real war. Maxim Efemenko uncuffed Zuba's hand and said calmly, you and your guys have two options. The first is that you leave and do everything, whatever you wish. If you take Pan's side, it's your right. You were bought. We understand. Stay with us and you will be against Pan. Choose. Zuba. Zuba began to back away. Maxim grinned and released his finger, holding the button. Nothing happened. Pont. Props. Deception. Or a dummy. Or the fuse is not activated. Zuba roared and immediately lived up to his nickname. He became like a bison eager to fight. Huge and strong. Knowing no barriers. Egorov fired into the air and shouted, don't fight. I'll shoot you. I can do it. Nikita. Andrei. Maxim and Stepan. Everyone in the car. And leave. I'll sort everything out here myself. Styopa. Do you understand me? Zuba's menacing appearance had disappeared somewhere. With his head down, he said guiltily, I understand you. Grandfather. Andreyka lightly pushed me towards Maxim's Geländewagen and whispered, get behind the wheel. And off we went. I'm already tired of this horror comedy. I got behind the wheel. Andreyka jumped into the passenger seat. And we quietly moved towards his house. The French Hummer crawled lazily after him. Zuba sat behind the wheel. You look like a lost soul. Bokov spoke. Surprised by what happened. I didn't answer. Surprised is putting it mildly. I'm shocked. In deep shock. Sorry. Nikita. Andreyka continued. You are a new person. And that's why we had to check you. What happened was expected. But there was no precise information. Pan had to react to our movements. He responded and sent the guys. Everything is fine at the moment. Neither bad nor good. Just normal. I didn't send you to Roj for nothing. And Sanya Bodrov didn't drag you to Pan for no reason either. The story of your arrival is too funny and too untrue. There is a lot that is unclear. I asked quietly. You suspected that I am Pan's man? No way without suspicion. You understand yourself. Andreyka answered. But now you are above suspicion. Your face showed it. It's simply impossible to act so realistically. You definitely didn't know Mr. before and have no relation to him. You are idiots, I said and fell silent. Me and Pan. How can you even think of something like this? And my story. What's so special about her? If Zuba takes our side, then the chances will be greater, said Bokov. We need his guys. I understand that everything is not so as they said. When I drove up to Andreyka's house, the yard is too crowded. There is Bodrov's Audi and an unknown to me Grand Cherokee from the early 90s. Bullet Musin. I recognized Denis Nugumanov and Sashka Bodrov without difficulty. In two women I recognized Olga Barkova and Raisa Surkova. The last one is standing with a Vintorez in her hands. A young guy in full gear. No doubt. Pasha Kuznetsov. All of them shouldn't be here. Went. Bokov answered my silent question and went out into the street. A French Hummer pulled up from behind and blocked the exit from the yard. I got out of the car after Bokov and silently walked towards the company waiting for us. I didn't expect a skillful undercut under my feet and so I fell face down into the grass. It poked me so painfully. Without having time to put out his hands. Because Andreyka managed to grab them and twist them inside out. Sashka Bodrov and Bullet Musin immediately ran up and didn't let me try to resist Bokov. My arms were crossed forcibly. The sound of construction screed cracking was heard. Another one followed him, his legs were pulled together. A black bag was pulled over his head. Bitches. For what? And why is there a bag on your head? What? I don't recognize your faces. Take him to the bathhouse. Andreyka commanded. While I was thinking it over. What happened? For what? I shouted, feeling a salty taste in my mouth. He bit his cheek quite hard when he fell. Someone kicked me in the ribs. And they responded with a burning pain. Strong arms lifted me up and carried me somewhere. For what? Your mother. I spat blood straight into the bag. A hefty chunk of my cheek came off on the inside. Apparently. What is the reason for this attitude towards me? Why? I have not betrayed anyone. I am not Pan's man. I understood from the familiar creaking sound that they dragged into the changing room. A few seconds later, the horizontal position changed to vertical. The bag was thrown down. Raisa Surkova and Olga Barkova are looking at me. They look at me in a bad way. Grinning. There is no one in the changing room except them and me. What a great introduction. I'll tell you. Hello. Nikita. Raisa said and smiled wickedly. Hello, hello. Olga added. Raisa Surkova is younger than Olga Barkova. But not by much. Both are similar in some ways. Thin. But sinewy. Job. Apparently. Such. They clearly don't make pancakes every day. And they certainly don't eat them often. The faces are difficult to see. Because the light bulb is behind them. But I didn't have time to get a good look on the street. Hello. I answered dryly and spat blood on the floor. Interesting. What will they tell me now? Do you see this? Raisa asked. Showing me a portable player. I nodded. The eyes are in place. That's why I see. Your negotiations with Pan are recorded here. Olga said calmly. I started laughing. Loudly and from the heart. What the hell negotiations? I only saw Pan in person once in my life. And I only spoke to him once. We are not familiar with him. Only from the dossier. In which Pan is ordered to be killed. Did you hit yourself? I asked, stopping laughing. My negotiations with Pan. Turn it on. I'll listen. Bokov, terribly angry, burst into the changing room and started yelling. What are you doing? Have you completely lost your mind due to these suspicions? I asked you to do everything fairly. Why? Let's play it safe. Racer answered sharply. Bokov snatched the portable player from her and, in a fit of rage, crushed it into tiny pieces with one hand. Pointing to the door. Roared. Both of you came out. Racer and Olga shrugged their shoulders and calmly left the changing room. Unfinished paranoids. Andreyka said after the women, pulling a folding knife out of his pocket. Took a step towards me. I have been observing what was happening all this time. Got nervous. Bokov has an angry face. Knife in hand. And he moves towards me. Hope. That wants to cut the ties. But what? If this is not so? Don't piss yourself. Nikita. Said Andreyka. Leaning over me. My friends just played it safe. We wanted to. So to speak. To take advantage of it. I didn't know. My arms and legs were freed. Spitting out the clot of blood that had accumulated in his mouth. I looked angrily at Andreyka and said. Explain it to me. What happened? Or someone will get punched in the face. Cool down. Nikita. Andreyka asked. This is a ridiculous accident. There is no need to touch anyone. We apologize. Are you apologizing? I lifted my t-shirt and showed the place. Where someone's boot toe touched my ribs. It turned out to be a pretty bad abrasion. And soon a bruise will appear. It was a glancing blow. Who did this? Andreyka. I did it, but I didn't. I hit without swinging. But with all my might. The fist hit Bokov's cheekbone. But he stood firm. Now continue. I nodded, letting off a little steam. This is the lesser one. What can you get for such an attitude? Andreyka Bokov winced, shook his head and continued. I didn't know. Nikita. Honestly. I didn't know. I speak briefly and clearly. There was an agreement. But my comrades went too far. We've been listening to you all this time. From the moment you appeared in the village. Everyone was waiting. When you contact Pan. Nugumanov removed the wiretap and checked you. While we were on the hill. At the agreed signal. If your connection with Pan is discovered. I'm knocking you down. No connection was found. But the comrades decided otherwise and gave the signal anyway. You were clean. Sorry about what happened. I charged you. Because I managed to get upset. Didn't expect that. That you are a traitor. Glad. That he is not a traitor. I walked around Andreyka. He kicked the door open and walked out into the street. Nothing has changed. They're waiting for us in silence. Someone is smiling. Someone is just watching. And someone frowns. Maxim Efemenko and Zuba are still sitting in the car and talking about something. Judging by their faces. The dialogue is tense. Which one of you is an idiot? I asked loudly. Bokov appeared from behind and put his hand on my shoulder. Asked. Cool down. Nikita. Let me cool down. I answered and approached Racer and Olga. Paranoids. Right. You're the same. Olga Barkova bared her teeth. They played it safe. Racer Surkova answered calmly. Having managed to get rid of Vintorez. Fools. Bokov hissed and walked towards Maxim and Zuba, who were talking. Andreyk. When do we start? Bullet asked from behind. Soon. Bokov responded without turning around. You can get ready. 20 minutes to Sachsenhausen. Then we go to Pan. Sanya Bodrov came up to me and extended his hand. He said quietly. Let's go and step away. Let's go and step away. I answered and shook his hand. We sat in the gazebo. Bodrov spoke. Nikita. Excuse us. They went a little overboard. It's all Olyar and Racer. Earning their trust is problematic. They suspect everyone and everything of having connections with Pan. Such is the red tape. How are you? Haven't changed your mind. I haven't changed my mind. I shook my head. The only problem is that future plans are unknown to me. You played it all out beautifully. You can't argue with that. What a pity that they went too far. Has the hustle and bustle started in the village? Surely someone got wind of the action and already reported to Wilkins. And that one, in turn, to the Lord. We are not fools. Nikita, answered Bodrov. Sachsenhausen's connection with the rest of the world was cut off a couple of hours ago. There is nothing to be afraid of yet. We'll start soon. Then there will be something to fear. You mostly just watch. Everything should go smoothly and with the support of the local population. What Bokov and Efemenko talked about with Zuba, I don't know. But they were able to come to an agreement. Zuba and his guys sided with us. Is it true? His guys don't know yet. They and the old counterintelligence officer Yegorov have not yet returned. There are none on the hill. And that means they'll catch up soon. The plan doesn't change. Andreyka began to command. Everyone knows what to do.
Корректировки касаются только Бодрова и Сирковой.
The first one rides on Zuba's transport with him. The second one takes Nikita into the company. You are driving his car. Is everything clear to everyone? It's been clear for a long time. Kuznetsov shouted enthusiastically. Well, then get started. Bokov waved his hand and lazily headed towards his Land Cruiser.